Alright, picture this. A huge larger-than-life billboard of a scrawny guy with glasses, crunching on some chips like he owns the world. Suddenly, we hear a roar of the crowd. We're outside a huge stadium and the air is absolutely buzzing. Inside, it's pure chaos, but like, the good kind. Fans are going wild, lights everywhere, the tension, you could cut it with a knife. This is it, the biggest esports tournament of the year is about to kick off. And the crowd? They lose their minds as the reigning champ walks up to the spotlight. This dude has crushed this event 2 years straight. He's the undisputed king of the game. It's Tejo? A voice rumbles like thunder. Our guy Tejo blinks up and whoa, he's staring at a hulking brute surrounded by a whole squad of Vikings. They're standing in front of a massive, seriously ominous gate. But, plot twist, this is not cosplay, these dudes are the actual real deal. They're totally eyeing him up like he just dropped in from another freaking planet. Weird name, even weirder clothes. And yes, very small, yeah, definitely not one of them. Before Tejo can even figure out what the heck is happening, two of these massive bearded dudes just stare at each other. And one of them, the bald one, shouts, "You're the guy who killed me." The other dude just grins back and goes, "Ho, so that was you. Okay, so you think a fight is about to explode." And our boy Tejo is stuck right in the middle of it. Their tempers are flared up, like steam is practically coming out of their ears until suddenly, they just link arms and start laughing like they're best friends who just had a tiny little squabble. The bald dude is like, "Dude, you must have died right after me since you're here too," talking to his frenemy. The other guy's like, "Yeah man, I got taken out by some kid with 5 braids who yelled 'Father' right before stabbing me in the stomach." And the bald guy just goes, "Ah yeah, that sounds like Bjorn." Meanwhile, Tejo is just watching this entire weirdness unfold. And he's probably thinking, okay, seriously, how in the actual heck did I end up here? Alright, cue the dramatic flashback. 1 second this dude was on the championship stage, totally laser-focused, hands flying across the keyboard like a madman. He was literally about to snatch his 3rd straight win, becoming an absolute unstoppable gaming legend. Next thing he knows, just darkness. And not like, my screen went black darkness. We're talking full-on, existential, lights-out blackout. Tejo is like, wait, what? How could he possibly die right when he was about to grab his biggest victory ever? Then suddenly, a voice cuts through his panic. This one was a champion. He won every single duel over dozens of battles. The super beautiful woman announces, pointing right at him. The crowd, like, explodes at this. And Tejo? He just looks completely lost and confused. He's trying to process like, okay, wait, how did I even get here? Oh yeah, it was because of this lady right here. He's thinking, why is she winking at me? Okay, let's hit play on that flashback again. So yeah, his body is just slumped over the gaming rig, totally lifeless. Then, bam. He's like in ghost form, hovering over himself. Suddenly, a blinding light, and this floating woman descends, all glowy and dramatic. She declares, "A warrior's soul who perished after a glorious battle." Tejo is squinting like, is she glowing? And what is even up with that outfit? Wait, hold up. Did she just say, dead? She just completely ignores his total existential panic and commands. "Come with me." Tejo is like, but where? Please tell me it's not hell. She just snaps. Hand. 1 second he's standing there, the next second she's just yoinking him into this crazy cosmic abyss. She triumphantly announces to Valhalla. Meanwhile, Tejo is absolutely screaming his head off, like any totally normal non-Viking person would. Okay, end flashback. So Valhalla, home of legendary warriors, right? The ultimate VIP lounge for dead champions? But at last he checked, Tejo wasn't exactly out there swinging a physical sword on a battlefield. Did this lady seriously mix up a pro gamer with an actual warrior? Because she looks way too confident about this whole situation. He's trying to explain like, yo, listen lady, I'm not a Viking, I'm not a knight, I'm not even a casual LARPer, I'm just a dude with god-tier reflexes and a killer KD ratio. Is there like, still time for a cosmic refund? Can somebody please hit Control-Z on this entire situation? And nope, instead, a deafening horn blasts through the air, shaking the ground like an earthquake. The lady just shouts, "Prepare for battle," rallying all these berserkers like it's literally game time. And Tejo? He's just watching this whole apocalyptic circus unfold and every single cell in his body is screaming, "Nope, this is not my scene. This is not my build. It's just an intense clash happening against these gnarly werewolf enemies." "What kind of madness is this?" Tejo yells. "What am I even supposed to do?" And get this, someone just shoves a sword into his hands. But then it hits him. Wait a minute, if he's already dead, what happens if he, dies again? Yeah, probably not the best time for a full-on existential crisis. A monster just appears right in front of him, fangs out, just a wall of fur and muscle about to absolutely wreck him. But just as this wolf is about to strike, someone yells, "Duck," and instinct just takes over. Tejo drops just in the nick of time as this absolute mountain of a Viking barrels past him, muscles rippling like a living war machine. The impact? Purely explosive. The sheer force of that strike sends shockwaves ripping through the battlefield. Boom! And get this, the move actually has a name, because of course it does. It's called the rock fist that caught a bear. And judging by how that beast is now doing a full backflip midair, yeah, it definitely lives up to the hype. Tejo is just staring, still crouched down, his brain totally struggling to reboot. Like, okay, what in the actual heck just happened? He knows he's way out of his league here. Those god-tier gaming skills, yeah, they are not saving him from this. Above all the chaos, the Viking turns to him, grinning like this is just Tuesday in Valhalla. Hey, you don't know about Saga, do you? Tejo just blinks. Saga? What? Bro is still lost. You don't know about Saga? He grins, looking totally hyped and brandishing a flaming fist that looks ready to absolutely flatten anything dumb enough to stand there. Okay, confusion level is cranked up to 11 right now. Tejo is freaking out, dodging rubble and chaos like he's in some crazy unexpected boss fight. His brain is doing a million miles an hour. What even is Saga? So, turns out, Saga is basically your life story. It's all the insane achievements a warrior racked up before they even got to Valhalla. And get this. In this world, your past accomplishments are straight up your power stats. The more legendary your achievements are, the stronger you become as a warrior. The Viking dude drops this bomb on him. Tejo takes a second trying to remember his epic achievements. Let's be real. All Tejo remembers is some serious couch time and grinding levels in games. But wait, hold up. His mind flashes back to his character in the game, Calstad the freaking immortal warrior. Realization hits him harder than a final boss combo. Could all those insane battles he fought as Calstad actually count as his achievements now? Like, is his gaming history his new power source? Suddenly he's surrounded in this awesome electric blue glow. And boom, something pops up right in front of him. That's your Saga, his Viking buddy points out. And somehow, Tejo can totally read what's on this glowing screen. Saga, immortal warrior, it says on the screen. Whoa, looks like Calstad's absolute unit power is officially his to wield in this world. He's immediately envisioning becoming totally OP, dreaming big and aiming to be the top warrior in Valhalla. Get that god-tier rank. Look ahead. The Viking suddenly bellows, snapping him out of his power fantasy. Tejo whips around, spotting this massive wolf-shaped monster stomping towards him, and it immediately attacks, sending Tejo sprawling like a ragdoll. He's flung a few meters backward. Ouch! Scrambling back to his feet, Tejo mutters in disbelief. Okay, this can't be Calstad's full power, right? Yet, he's totally questioning everything now. Dude, if he had Calstad's full power, taking down something like this would be easier than farming low-level mobs. He quickly checks his screen again. Okay, home screen looks good, stats are there. But wait, what in the actual heck is this? In tiny microscopic print it says Calstad's synchronization is at 1%. He freaks out. Seriously? Are you trying to pull a fast one? Could you make the fine print any smaller? Are you an insurance company? His ally, who introduces himself as Bjorn, cool name by the way, just thinks he's hilarious. But this is where their paths split. Build your story, Bjorn advises. Survive this, and let's meet again, alright? Facing the red-eyed fiend, Tejo ponders his potential. Just 1% feels like a total joke right now. But if we're talking about Calstad's power level, even 1% is more than enough firepower to absolutely dominate this battle. With his eyes locked on his sword, he charges at the beast full throttle. Time to grind. Calstad's mighty image floods his thoughts. That guy was a walking W, a superhuman who could take on hundreds of soldiers solo and laugh about it. Springing up, Tejo fully embraces Calstad's spirit. He rushes over to grab his sword, feeling the power surge. This arena is total carnage central. Monsters are wrecking the landscape, but Tejo somehow finds his battle rhythm. Envisioning an epic tag team with Calstad, he goes full storm mode on his foe. The wolf monster swings. But with god-tier reflexes from his gaming days, Tejo dodges like a boss. Memories crash down like a tidal wave of roars and cheers from the arena, a reminder that true stature is earned through battle. He imagines himself as Calstad, sweeping through enemy lines like an unstoppable force. Lee Tejo and Calstad, he exclaims, feeling the connection. This is hype. His saga, called A Warrior's Charge, is activated. He slices at the wolf monster with everything he's got. And seriously, Tejo is absolutely storming right now. Look at him go. But hey, he's not totally used to this OP power yet, and he face plants with a yelp. He hits the ground rolling. Classic. Did it work? Did he actually create a new saga just now? Alright, with this saga power, Tejo locks eyes on his next target, fierce determination shining through far. I am absolutely going to survive this. Let's go. Alright, fast forward to after the battle. The halls of Valhalla are all lit up with celebration. Inside, cheers are spilling from the walls and mugs are clashing in celebratory toasts. It's party time. Tejo finds himself in this super raucous hall, surrounded by loud, boisterous warriors, each trying to one-up the other with crazy tales of glory. Yo, you made it through too, someone shouts to a friend. Meanwhile, Tejo is just awkwardly gnawing on this massive hunk of meat. Ooh, he mumbles, totally not used to the raw enthusiasm and energy around him. His chill gaming life feels like a super distant memory now. So this is the feast for the night? He wonders aloud. It's literally just plain meat and booze. But hey, he's starving, so he's gonna devour it anyway. Then a voice chimes in. Want better food? Simple. Just raise your warrior rank, dude. It's Bjorn. Tejo learns this is basically just the rookie dinner party. Low-level stuff. Wait, are you a low-ranked warrior too, Bjorn? Tejo asks, surprised. Bjorn just laughs it off. Nah, just here to check on you, my man. Seriously, thanks to you I survived that. Thank you, Tejo tells him, genuinely grateful for the saga advice. That info was clutch. His eyes still show a hint of leftover panic when he thinks back on how close he came to totally messing up. Okay, serious question, Tejo asks, suddenly getting real. What happens if someone dies here? Bjorn explains they get transferred to the Iron Warrior unit. They apparently feel no hunger or pain and just fight forever. Which is still pretty awesome, Bjorn thinks. Tejo is having none of it. Awesome, my foot. That sounds like an iron coffin, not an iron unit. He absolutely refuses to let that be his fate. No thank you. Before he can freak out too much, Bjorn reassures him that unit assignments are coming up next. And bam! Enter a Valkyrie with total style and flourish. Her presence instantly commands respect from everyone. All the warriors are hanging on her every single word as she praises their valor. Alright, time for the unit announcements. This is where things get serious. The Valkyrie points energetically. Now I shall announce the units you fine warriors will be joining. The whole hall is buzzing with anticipation. Who's getting picked? Bjorn whispers a little tidbit. This Valkyrie, Regenlif, is the daughter of Odin himself. She commands awe and carries noble blood. With a dramatic flair that screams epic fantasy, the Valkyrie lifts her cup high. Look into your cups to see which glorious unit you'll follow. A mystical ritual unfolds right before their eyes. Bjorn explains they're all part of Asgard's divine army. And get this, they gain power through their assigned god. Tejo's brain immediately calculates the most power comes from the strongest god. Obvious strat. Tejo's cup glows brilliantly, totally reflecting his inner resolve. Odin or Thor, please, please. He hopes, his whole future in this new world resting on this one moment. Pick a winner, cup. Pick a winner. Alright, the scene jumps and our boy Tejo is just chilling, taking a super relaxed boat ride down a peaceful river with a cool red-haired girl doing all the rowing work. Now, he should be hyped out of his mind about joining the legendary Legion of the Gods, but low-key, he's just like, wait, what? Total disbelief is setting in. He's thinking, exasperated, why call it a legion when I'm the only one here? And the girl? She's just finding his whole drama kind of funny. She's like, hey, don't knock it. This legion actually has some seriously sweet perks. Think about it. Nobody's breathing down your neck from above and zero drama from anyone below. She's literally calling it a total paradise. But Tejo? He's still stuck on one thing. Was he really the one and only dude in Idun's legion? Okay, let's rewind just a sec to see how we got here. Tejo is peering into his mug, vibrating with excitement to see which god he's going to be assigned to, and then boom! A name pops up, Idun. Everyone else around him is going wild, celebrating their assignments, but Tejo is just scratching his head. He doesn't even recognize this god's name. He looks over at Bjorn, basically begging for some guidance. Bjorn just gives him this look, kinda sad, and just says, stay strong. Like, yeah buddy, you're gonna need it. Meanwhile, some epic lady is calling out for everyone assigned to Odin to come forward. Soon, others are shouting out their gods' names too, forming up their squads. Tejo, though? He's just awkwardly looking around, trying to find his team, his people. Suddenly, he hears a voice, kinda bored-sounding, call out, Idun. He turns. And who is it? The same red-haired girl just squatting on the ground looking bored as. Seriously, it looks like she's about to just fall asleep right there. Tejo, being the slightly awkward MC, introduces himself. And this girl? Her eyes go wide. She's genuinely shocked. She practically screams, a newcomer? Really? No way. You're kidding. She's losing it because she just can't believe they finally have a rookie. It's apparently been like forever. Okay, so the girl's name is Hedda. Tejo, getting down to business, asks her about this whole wars thing they're apparently involved in. She's cool about it. Alright, fine, I'll break it down for you, she replies. With a casual wave of her hand, she pulls up some kind of map or display. She lays it out plain and simple. Right now they're chilling in Asgard, but just beyond that, that's Muspelheim, basically a monster zoo full of dread-inducing creatures. Tejo points to this big red area on the map. Hida explains that's Eren, a land that already got steamrolled. So now Asgard is the front line, locked in an epic battle against enemies who literally want to end the world. He's heard this kind of thing before. It sounds like something out of a game. He asks, is this Ragnarok? Yep, Hida confirms. They are knee-deep in Ragnarok, fighting for the ultimate fate of existence. Okay, if you want to be all noble and heroic about it, yeah, they're doing it to save the world. But Hida keeps it real. Honestly, they're doing it just to survive this mess. Tejo just stares at the map Heda showed him. So wait, is it actually possible to travel between different worlds? That thought sparks this little flicker of hope inside him, like maybe there's a way back home. They finally dock the boat and head towards the goddess's temple, which sounds pretty epic. Since they're officially on her squad now, they gotta go pay their respects to the boss. Their footsteps are just echoing through these super dark, empty halls, giving off a slightly spooky vibe. Tejo's feeling a mix of wonder and low-key anxiety. Like, is he about to meet the goddess herself? Right now? Nah, not directly. Hida explains that the goddess hangs out in a much higher, more divine place. Instead, Hida just tosses him this shiny golden apple and tells him to just drop it right in the middle of the room. Before he can even fully process it, Tejo is suddenly caught up in this totally ethereal, otherworldly event. He drops the apple and bam, a rush of pure divine energy just floods the place surrounding him. And he feels this pull being called closer by Idun, the goddess herself. She's radiating with life, youth, and just pure energy. Our boy Tejo is totally overwhelmed. All he can manage is to stammer a bit and just instinctively kneel down, showing ultimate respect. He thinks about it, it's like water naturally flowing downhill. His body just automatically knew to be respectful in the face of this much power. It's just natural. And then, the goddess bestows upon him a blessing, the sigil of life. This epic power-up is literally gonna shield him from death on the battlefield. Tejo is just marveling at this newfound power, feeling absolutely invincible. He's thinking, yeah, youth really is strength. This is awesome. All those years of grinding games that gave him chronic back pain and carpal tunnel, gone. Vanished. He's never felt more ready to take on the world, level up, and absolutely dominate. The goddess just smiles at his obvious enthusiasm and gives him her blessings and well wishes. Suddenly, Tejo snaps back to reality, waking up with a jolt. Hida is absolutely ecstatic, seeing that he actually received the blessing. She's hyped for him. She tells him, okay, yeah, on the battlefield you're still gonna feel pain, you're not invincible like that, but with this life blessing, dying is practically impossible. Talk about an OP buff. It's so effective they've even earned this legendary nickname, the Zombie Legion, because they just won't stay down. Tejo is processing all this, but he can't help but ask the big question. Could he eventually return home one day after all this chaos is over? He gets this super serious, determined look on his face, really selling it. But deep down, he's blushing a little. He's totally thinking, okay, was that line cool or what? Did I sound like a total Chad just now? Hida totally sees through him, but she finds his little act of bravado kinda cute, honestly. She reassures him, look, if we actually win this war, you're gonna get whatever you want. So yeah, if you want to bounce and head back home after, go for it. The option's there. Tejo just grips onto that hope like it's the only lifeline he has in this wild new world. His inner voice is screaming, of course I have to go back. There's no way he's finding joy staying in this crazy, death-defying place forever. Suddenly, Hida just grabs his hand, holding it tightly. Whoa! Tejo's heart totally skips a beat. In that moment, everything else just fades away. Her touch feels weirdly comforting, even kind of familiar. He's stunned by this unexpected connection, thinking, whoa, so warm and soft. He's blushing hardcore now, trying his absolute best not to look completely flustered while she's standing way too close for comfort. This is intense. But hey, for right now, maybe this whole isekai adventure isn't all bad. Maybe there's actually some cool stuff to be had here after all. Maybe he can find some enjoyment in this crazy new life. We switch to a completely different scene. Someone's arriving at the door and Heda looks up, excited at the sound. Then in comes Tejo, looking all serious business. He's got the full salaryman, drip classes, tie, the whole 9 yards. Hida welcomes him like he just got off a long shift, all happy and saying he's right on time. She even feeds him a spoonful of meat, kind of playfully, like, open wide. Tejo gets all flustered, but he's totally game. He gobbles it down and even blushes a little. Suddenly, we're in total confusion mode. Tejo's legit chomping on a shoe. Wait, what? Bro's face is pure horror. But phew, it's not real. He's just eating a super tough piece of meat. Man, what a way to snap him out of his daydream. Sensing his discomfort, Heda's like, don't worry, we'll get way better meat once we level up. She talks about grinding hard, rising through the ranks so they can score better digs and better food. So hang in there, Tejo, she shouts, maybe a little too cheerfully. And of course her cute cheer sends Tejo spiraling into another daydream. This time it's him and Haida being a happy family by the Han River. Looks like our boy's delusions have hit critical level now. Later that day, it's training time. Haida breaks it down. Every time you smash an enemy, you snag something called a rune. Tejo's starting to connect the dots, remembering this red energy sinking into him when he bodied those enemies back at the battle. He figures he might already have a few stashed away. Yep, turns out he's actually racked up some runes. Here's the lowdown. You can totally invest these runes into boosting your core stats, including mana. Tejo asks, can my saga be strengthened by mana? Nah, sagas are special. They aren't boosted by strength or mana. Sagas get stronger the more people know your story, the more they believe in it. Sometimes, a saga can even become stronger than actual reality. How wild is that? For example, a story about capturing a snake can become a legend about slaying a dragon. Sagas of lower-class warriors are pretty simple. They usually revolve around getting stronger or faster. That's kind of amazing, but that's just a small part of what a true saga really is. Sagas are the realization of legends. And the most important thing about your saga, its development is completely 100% up to you. He's totally set on crafting his own story. The Legend of Dragon Knight Calstad. Man, that name sounds epic already. Cut to a bell just going nuts, ringing like crazy. Everyone in the village is scrambling, total chaos mode. Haida explains the sound. Yep, it's time for battle. Things escalated fast. And then bam, a dramatic violet portal pops up. Haida's like, alright, get in. This is the express train to the deployment zone where everyone links up before hitting the battlefield. Tejo's getting suited up, the nerves are definitely kicking in. He's probably holding his breath with Haida this close, honestly. But Haida's got his back. She's cheering him on, saying he looks great. A quick goodbye and Tejo takes the plunge, leaping into the fray. Okay, this is kinda sweet. Haida's parting words? Simple. Don't die. Tejo gives a thumbs up, grinning like he's ready to take on the world, totally hyped up by Idun's blessing. Her smile says it all. She totally believes in her boy. Tejo strides through that portal, determination radiating off him. Suddenly, he's surrounded by allies, just packed with warriors. He's actually surprised by the sheer number. Was this seriously a major battle? And just then, a hand reaches out towards him. Out of absolutely nowhere, someone just smacks the shield on his back. It's Bjorn. Man, this guy is a burst of pure energy. He eyeballs Tejo and is like, dude, you're looking way better, your assigned Valkyrie treating you right, or what? Then he literally strong-arms Tejo, dragging him towards the front lines to find his spot. Bjorn mentions today's battle is going to be different. They've actually got a commander calling the shots. Our visuals shift dramatically. Commander Ragnar steps up, his eyes practically on fire, serious business mode activated. Tejo's standing there awkwardly. Since he's the only one from Idun's legion, he gets shuffled all the way to the back, but hey, he's still in the house. Ragnar is shouting orders. The battle objective? Taking back territory from those nasty gnolls. Everyone roars in excitement. Let's go, warriors of Valhalla. For Asgard and the 9 realms. Fully pumped up by the battle cries, they all march off to war. Ragnar's all about leading from the front, making this super bold declaration, which gets even more cheers from the other warriors. Tejo, meanwhile, is stuck in the back, can't see a darn thing. The scene shifts again to some snowy fields. The enemy is looming, looking vicious. You see a small group of warriors already surrounded. The crew are tired, but they know reinforcements are coming soon, so they push through. Let's go. Suddenly, get ready. A massive, super intimidating figure appears at the edge of a cliff, just towering over the entire scene. The warriors below are freaking out, eyes wide. This giant shadow leaps, and bam, massive impact as it lands right smack in the middle of the battle. Introducing the chapter boss, White Fang. This dude is big, dramatic, and straight up terrifying. Everyone's stunned, wondering if this is the main leader. He's huge, like 4 times bigger than the other guys. Just then, a portal pops open right behind the boss. The action is building. The warriors charge forward, totally hyped to push the line. The reinforcements are absolutely exhilarated and rush into the battle like madmen. But, whoops, they come face to face with the monstrous figure of White Fang. The soldiers are just staring in shock. What even is this? Then, wham! White Fang makes his move. He's hurling debris everywhere like it's just pebbles. The warriors are scrambling, trying to dodge this flying rubble, their shields barely holding up against this insane force. And guess who finally arrives on the scene? Tejo. And he is immediately greeted by White Fang's absolutely deafening roar. Tejo? He's just frozen solid, staring at this absolute unit's size. He's internally screaming, who's the idiot who decided to open the portal right here? Seriously? It's like a crazy boss fight from a game, White Fang versus Tejo. Let's go. Our boy tells himself to chill and think of this like strategizing against a tough raid boss. Tejo's eyes narrow, total focus mode activated. Gotta start thinking, he reminds himself. That weapon is insane, like those mallets you use to flatten pork cutlets. One hit, and he's absolutely gone. He's gotta think on his feet. No time to waste. That tiny shield, useless for blocking these hits. He just flings the useless shield away. Now he's thinking about straight up outmaneuvering this monster. Okay, determination level 100. Tejo decides to go all in. He's using all his runes. He dumps every single point into agility. Gotta hope speed saves the day. He's dodging incoming attacks like a ninja, totally focused on figuring out this monster's moves. And bam! He starts seeing the pattern in its swings. Now he can dodge with pinpoint precision. Getting good. The crowd is absolutely stunned. They're cheering him on like crazy as he dodges another massive blow from White Fang. White Fang charges again. Pure aggression. But Tejo knows just dodging isn't enough. Gotta do more. He's thinking, maybe attack its legs? That might bring this beast down. He shouts to the other warriors. Hit its legs, he yells. They all dive in, targeting the creature's legs. Let's go team. But, nope. They all get absolutely flattened by White Fang in like half a second. Okay, plan B needed stat. White Fang raises that giant hammer ready to smash Tejo. At that exact moment, he knows there's only one thing he can do. Activate his saga. Let's go. He leaps into the air just as the hammer crashes down and he completely avoids it. Clutch dodge. His mind flashes back to Hedda, her encouraging words ringing in his head. He has to survive. Gotta see Hedda again. And then, he remembers what Hida said about sagas. It's entirely up to you. No death flags today? Stop it with the flashbacks, Tejo yells. Wait, did he just scold the narration box? Okay, intense focus back on. He's thinking about pushing his saga beyond just speed. What if he could, like, kick the air and launch himself like a cannonball? That would be epic. Tejo charges, unleashing a fierce attack aimed right at White Fang. The attack lands, sending shockwaves rippling across the whole battlefield. Tejo smashes to the ground, while White Fang cries out in pain. Tejo survives, barely. Big thanks to Idun's blessing for that second chance. White Fang is still struggling with that sword stuck in its eye. Okay, this is the moment. Now or never. Tejo decides. He realizes he needs a new weapon. Right now. That's how his next saga was created. The Sword of the Warrior. Tejo quickly forges a glowing blue sword right out of thin air and launches himself towards his opponent. He finishes White Fang with this final incredible move. G. Meanwhile, someone is watching this whole thing from afar. She moves a game piece, noting that they're winning. She's thinking about what this new player means for the game. She turns around and respectfully greets a crow. Valkyrie Razgrid greets Odin. The crow corrects her, I'm Hugin, not Odin, and asks if anyone stood out today. Really? No one? Hugin asks. Ah, well, they're just low-ranked warriors anyway, he says. But Razgrid speaks up. Actually, there was one individual. Back on the battlefield, victory. It belongs to Tejo. He's officially recognized as an impressive warrior. The battlefield is buzzing with pure excitement. Tejo feels the weight of this moment. He remembers why he's here. His aspirations. These cheers, they feel familiar. Like a distant memory or a dream finally coming true. He looks at his sword. This was Runefang, a god-tier weapon in the game, but later got nerfed hard, became just a common weapon. A determined look crosses his face. He wants to keep hearing these cheers. He wants to become stronger. Way stronger. He wants to become Lee Tejo, the god of war. The absolute best in Valhalla. Tejo's soaking up the cheers, then a huge hand claps his shoulder, pulls him right back to reality. It's Bjorn, the big guy. He's chuckling about how Tejo's gotten way better at handling his saga. Thanks to you and Heda, Tejo replies with a grin. Creating a sword out of thin air? Yeah, that's a sweet trick, and he's totally nailed it now. But no time to relax. Bjorn's all about moving forward. Tejo asks if they're heading home. What, you want to leave already? Bjorn teases him. The final goal is reclaiming that fortress. No going home until the mission is complete. Seriously though, camping out in the cold? Not exactly his ideal vacation spot. That night, the sky is painted with beautiful northern lights and their makeshift camp is bustling below. Tejo's tent looks kinda lonely under the stars, a fire flickering nearby. He yawns, reflecting on this long, exhausting day. Man, it felt like a whole week crammed into just a few hours. Lying down, Tejo's mind is racing. He ponders about how much he's changed. He's super curious about just how powerful he's actually become. He's testing his runes and whoa, he notices the sync rate has increased, and he's got an extra saga slot now too. He's practically buzzing with excitement about the possibility of using 2 sagas at the same time. That's gonna be OP. Just as he's lost in thought, a warrior pokes his head through the tent flap. Warrior Lee Tae-ho, he calls out. The guy's got this smirk like he knows something's up. But before Tae-ho can even ask what, he gets told there's a visitor. But seriously, why is this dude smiling so much? Stepping outside, it's just smiles and giggling everywhere. Fellow warriors are giving him thumbs up, like he just won the grand prize or something. Tae-ho's totally confused by their reactions. What's with all these over-the-top smiles? Seriously. But then he spots the reason and his face instantly turns bright red. He starts blushing furiously. He finally walks towards the big roaring fire in the center. He sees some warriors celebrating, and then someone special calls out his name. Yep, it's Hedda. Her face is absolutely lit up, both by the firelight and a super bright smile. Alright folks, check it. We open with Hedda, right? She's on her knees looking totally flustered, just apologizing like crazy. But like, why? Okay, real quick, let's rewind a hot minute. Like 5 minutes ago, Tae-ho gets asked to show off his life's achievements. Dude's kinda surprised thinking, wait, I can actually show this stuff? But Hida's chill, she's like, yeah, if you wanna, you totally can. And boom. With a wave, this massive scroll unrolls, and it's just listing all of Tae-ho's gaming triumphs. Seriously, looks like he's basically conquered every game ever made. Hida's jaw is on the floor as she's scrolling through this list. Okay, fast forward back to the present now. Hida is straight up overwhelmed by Tae-ho's resume. She had zero idea he was this much of a legend, and she's low-key embarrassed for acting all superior earlier. Our boy Tae-ho, being the awkward king he is, tries to calm her down. He can't help but notice her panicked face is kinda cute. But hey Tae-ho, maybe explain the whole game thing better next time? A game? Hida's totally lost on how playing video games translates to serious skills. But she's starting to get it, bless her heart. Still, she's firm. Achievements are achievements, period. Tae-ho's genuinely surprised by her reaction. He remembers how in the real world his gaming skills were always just laughed at and looked down on. It's kinda comforting, but also super weird, you know? Alright, switching gears. They move on to Tae-ho's sagas. There's no cap on how many he could have, but at his current level, getting one more might be his limit for now. So yeah, our guy needs to choose wisely. No creating useless sagas. He's thinking hard about what epic saga to create next. As he's deep in thought, his mind flashes through his current lineup. Immortal Warrior, Charge of a Warrior, the usual suspects. He's thinking maybe he needs a solid attack skill, but like what does he need the most right now? Okay, he's got it. He decides on his new saga. Ladies and gents, behold, the eyes of a dragon sees through all things. What a mouthful. Activating this new power immediately freaks Hedda out. Dude looks intense, maybe a little too intense. She's getting serious creepy vibes. Meanwhile, Tae-ho is ecstatic. His vision just got a major upgrade. This new ability is basically like flipping on developer mode. He can see through everything, analyze targets like in a game, and know people in crazy detail. I can see right through Tae-ho's trying to explain, but his sentence just stops. Uh-oh, poor Hedda. Looks like she just got unintentionally scanned by Tae-ho's new sight as a side effect. Awkward. That sudden burst of sensory overload hits Tae-ho hard. His head feels like it's gonna pop, like figuratively speaking, mostly. Heida's just standing there wondering what the heck just happened. Yeah, looks like he almost had a system crash there. Anyway, time to bounce. Hida gives him this super tight hug, calling him the Idun Legion's good luck charm. Tae-ho's eyes bulge with shock. Then, out of nowhere, this loud explosion rocks the tent from the hug. What kind of OP hug is that? Alright, after Hedda makes her exit, this guy with green hair strolls in. He's Rolf from Ulri's Legion, a fellow warrior. He's from Siri's unit, and he's here to grab Tae-ho for a big meetup. Naturally, Tae-ho tries to scope out Rolf with his new eyes of a dragon. Alright, so his name is Rolf. Is Wolf Hunter a nickname, or what? Then whoa, X-ray mode is still on. Rookie mistake. Tae-ho is screaming internally. Note to self. Remember to turn off X-ray mode next time. They walk under the stars and Rolf is low-key envious of Tae-ho getting a visit from a Valkyrie. Dude, if a Valkyrie visited me, I'd be flexing about it forever, he says. Apparently it's super rare and admired, like having a celebrity moment in their ranks. Curious, Tae-ho asks about Ulri's Legion blessings. Rolf spills the tea. They can pick between stealth or tracking, and eventually they get both. Pretty neat combo. Tae-ho's impressed watching Rolf show off a bit of cloaking. Rolf explains that the tracking lets him find an enemy from even the tiniest trace. They finally arrive at the meeting spot and Rolf announces their arrival. Tae-ho does a double take. Wait, the commander of this whole thing is a woman? Her name is Siri, and yeah, her intense aura is undeniable. This is actually Tae-ho's first time seeing a woman in Valhalla who wasn't a Valkyrie. She asks Tae-ho if he's the warrior who took down the knoll today. Siri's got this seriously intimidating presence, that pure warrior vibe. She commands respect, and yeah, her power level seems way higher than any of the warriors here. She tells Tae-ho the chief commander wants to meet him soon. He manages a small yes, trying not to look too shook. Man, she's got charisma stats maxed out, he thinks, secretly checking her info with his eyes. Classic gamer move. Just then, this dazzling Valkyrie descends from the sky. But what's up with that nickname, Ice Princess? Rasgrid takes charge. She explains that since Ragnar is, well, gone, his unit is getting integrated with Siri's. She's counting on Siri to lead them effectively, no pressure. The energy is electric, you can feel a new chapter starting as Rasgrid pulls out a scroll. She's here to recognize everyone's hard work, promising rewards for all the clutch plays and hardcore grinding they did. Then she calls out Tae-ho by name. Yep, our boy Tae-ho is officially in the spotlight now. For what, you ask? For soloing that giant knoll, his reward, a shiny pouch of gold coins, a rune, and 10 contribution points for his legion. Nice haul. Of course, Tae-ho's trying his best to keep a straight face, but you can practically see the excitement bubbling under the surface. Is he already getting famous here? His inner monologue is suddenly cut off by someone yelling, "Yo, isn't that the dude who got visited by a Valkyrie?" The crowd erupts in cheers. They're all mega impressed. Whispers of amazement are flying around. Some folks are even looking a little green with envy. Tae-ho's just processing all this, so apparently getting a personal visit from a Valkyrie is somehow a way bigger deal than soloing a boss monster. Who knew? Suddenly, the focus shifts back to Rasgrid. She's hyping up the troops for the next mission. They're gonna reclaim a fortress. Sounds like tomorrow's gonna be lit. But wait, there's more. They've got something called the Steel Rain planned out. Whatever this is, it sounds huge, and everyone's supposed to board it. The crowd goes absolutely wild at the mention of Steel Rain. It's like they've been waiting for this moment their whole lives. Cheers and calls of hype fill the air. Even Tae-ho gets swept up in the energy, even though he has zero clue what he just signed up for. He turns to Rolf, hoping maybe this guy has the deets. Rolf actually pauses his cheering. I don't know either. Turns out he's just as clueless as Tae-ho. Okay, it's the day of the battle, and Rasgrid is making this epic entry, just dropping from the sky with wings flapping. She lets out this massive battle cry, hyping up the troops. They immediately charge straight towards this huge fortress, ready to throw down. The enemy comes out to meet them, but this army is moving like a total force of nature, absolutely unstoppable. Meanwhile, way up high in the fortress, a hulking figure is just watching. Yup, it's the boss. Red Eye himself, looking all flames and pure fury. The two sides just clash fiercely, swords clanging against armor like crazy. The battlefield is a total chaotic mess, but everyone is giving it their absolute all. So while this siege is kicking off, there's a sneaky strategic move planned, keep the enemy busy at the front line while another unit scales the walls to somehow open the main fortress gate. Siri lays out the mission in detail, stressing how crucial it is to reach the rune magic control room. Rolf, looking like he means business, asks if they're climbing the walls using Steel Rain. Tae-ho's thinking, this dude is pretending to know when he's totally clueless. But wait, what even is this Steel Rain? Is it some kind of crazy teleportation magic or something? A little later, Tae-ho's face? Yeah, it says it all. Pure confusion, maybe even a tiny bit of fear. Plot twist. Turns out, Steel Rain is actually this huge barrel contraption that just yeets them towards the fortress at breakneck speed. Rolf is totally pumped for this ride, gives Tae-ho a big thumbs up. Tae-ho though? Not so much. Another warrior is just embracing this total chaos, shouting his excitement. Meanwhile, a comrade blows a horn. That's the signal to fire. Tae-ho braces himself, praying to Idun for dear life inside his head. His mind is screaming Hida as they get hurtled out of this giant cannon. Like, literally blown through a cannon. The launch is insane. These barrels are just flying across the snowy plains. Inside those barrels, the guys are screaming. Some are screaming from the sheer hype, others from pure unadulterated terror. The barrels soar right over the main fight below. They somehow manage to clear the fortress wall, and finally land with a thud in the courtyard. Okay, landing was not smooth. It's a total rough and tumble scene, but people are recovering fast, dusting themselves off, and getting ready for whatever's next. Siri immediately calls everyone to arms because their next opponents are already coming. And guess what? Giant bugs start emerging. Talk about a wild twist on this battlefield. Suddenly they are completely surrounded on all sides by literally hundreds of these giant insects. Siri shouts instructions. These bugs move in packs. If you take down the leader bug, the rest become totally useless idiots. But Rolf is like, Siri? They all look exactly the same though? But wait, Tae-ho's Eyes of a Dragon skill suddenly lights up. This lets him instantly spot the specific leader bug hiding among all the minions. Talk about an OP skill. He immediately shouts his discovery to Siri. Siri darts across the battleground like lightning, teaming up with Tae-ho. These two are totally in sync. It's awesome to see. Siri commands him to point out the leaders as they work together to take them down. They quickly coordinate their attacks, just totally dispatching the enemy like pros. Tejo's dragon vision is basically guiding their whole attack, focusing only on the leaders. That one. Tejo points, labeling one as Swift Giant Bug. Next up, it's the Handsome Giant Bug. Seriously? Handsome? Then the popular giant bug is targeted. Even they're not spared. Each leader bug gets quickly marked by Tejo and then immediately targeted by the warriors. The incoming tide of bugs seems absolutely endless, but this team is standing strong, holding the line. But suddenly, a horn sounds. And guess what? A whole new wave of monsters barge in and start swarming. Siri gives new instructions. Rolf needs to take a smaller squad and make a break for the control room. And guess who's part of that squad? Yup, it's Tejo. Siri smiles at Tejo, full of confidence, telling him, "I'll entrust this to you, Idun's warrior." She knows he's got this. Tejo just nods back, looking totally determined. Time to get serious. Alright, now it's time for the detached squad to mobilize. Let's go. Stay close, Rolf advises the group. Good call. Stealth is their new best friend now. Rolf activates Ulr's blessing, totally cloaking them from enemies. Nice buff. The main fighting is still going on, but they just slip by completely unnoticed and make their way to the fortress walls. Rolf apparently has the map and knows about a secret hidden door. Suddenly, the ground opens up to reveal a hidden stairway. And just like that, they're moving through these dark, ancient corridors. Spooky. They immediately start bumping into cobwebs, getting tangled up. Yeah, Tejo and the gang are quite literally in a sticky situation here. Gross. Tejo's just brushing off the old strands, wondering, seriously, why are there so many webs? As they delve deeper into the fortress, the atmosphere just gets heavier, you can feel it. But wait, lurking just out of sight in the shadows, something sinister is waiting for them. Above them, there's a monster spider hanging from the ceiling, its eyes glowing totally red. Rolf, being the cautious one, tells everyone to watch their step, like super carefully. One of the other soldiers, a big burly dude, grunts back, "Yeah, got it." But then you hear it, that spine-chilling sound. The spider's attacking. Turns out it's a massive wolf spider. And bam, it snatches up unnamed Soldier A and straight up eats him. Just gone. Rolf is cursing like, seriously? That thing looks hungry. Too late for their buddy though. Then Tejo, with his magic eyes activated, screams, "There's not just one, there's more." And yeah, just like he said, they're totally surrounded. Oh snap. Tejo's trying to keep his cool. Gotta think. What's the weakness here, right? And then the stats hit him. Bingo. It's fire. With this surge of energy, Tejo just whips out this massive glowing sword from thin air. Even Rolf looks shocked. Where'd that come from? Whoosh. Tejo is in action. That sword is swinging with some serious electric energy. Then he pops Runefang's special ability. Flames just erupt, torching the spiders. They use the chaos to escape. They book it towards safety. But wait, what about Tejo's sword? Poof, it's gone. But hey, he can just make another one. Is this dude secretly a mage or something? No time to think about that now. They're navigating this place like a bunch of Pac-Mans in a dungeon. And look, there's a door at the end of the tunnel. They bust through that door, slamming it shut behind them, barely keeping those things out. Okay, hilarious part. One wolf spider actually made it inside with them. It's probably thinking, phew, good thing I didn't get smushed. But yeah, that relief lasts about 2 seconds cause Tejo just whacks it on the head. The others quickly pull the door shut tight before any more decide to join the party. Inside what looks like the fort's control room, they finally catch their breath. Tejo asks, "Is this the control room?" It's this huge circular room, and right in the middle is a glowing blue panel. Yep, it's an emergency control room, totally hidden and unguarded. Nice find. So they get to work. Rolf pulls out this mystic device, planning to use it to open the fort's main gate for their allies outside. The panel lights up and says, "Emergency authorization key confirmed." Sweet. Suddenly, like a virtual person just zooms out of the panel. She says she's Black Fortress, and she's here, waiting for commands. Rolf and unnamed Soldier B are just stunned for a second by how she looks. Rolf finally gets it together and barks, "Open the gate." Black Fortress starts opening the door, and Rolf yells, "No, not that gate, the fortress gate." LOL, they almost opened the wrong one. Classic. Okay, mistake fixed. Now they gotta get ready to defend this spot, cause enemies are probably coming. Black Fortress warns them, enemy approaching, prepare for combat. And right on cue, something huge just smashes through the doors. Turns out, this isn't just some random bad guy. This terrifying creature is a boss monster. And get this, he just wiped out the entire spider horde outside. What an absolute unit. The beast, a boss-level monster named Red Eye, is totally hyped up and angry. He roars, "You Valhalla brats, I'll tear you to shreds." Oh boy, the team steals themselves. Adrenaline's pumping, maybe a little bit of fear too, let's be real. They all jump in and attack together. Teamwork makes the dream work. This is it. It's them against the beast. Tejo gets a good swing in, managing a hit, but Red Eye retaliates fiercely. Everything is going crazy. Unnamed Soldier B steps up. He goes for a counterattack, launching himself at Red Eye. But man, this boss is tough. He's relentless. The beast is looking for Tejo, calling him out. Says he's tiny but got some spunk, huh? But Red Eye doesn't know Tejo is already spiraling through the air, getting ready to launch another attack from above. Red Eye totally sees it coming though. And then he lets go of his weapon. Wait, what's his plan here? In a wild move, Red Eye snatches Tejo right out of the air and then slams him into the ground with bone-crushing force. Ouch. The ground just shatters. Dude got wrecked with the boss's tombstone piledriver. Rolf screams. He's rushing over to his fallen comrade's side. Tejo is just lying there looking totally battered. His friends are yelling in horror. Man, that looked bad. Red Eye is just looming over our guy who's totally crumpled and looking like he's down for the count. Our dude's legit having an out-of-body experience floating through this eerie void. He feels this strange warmth. Like, what even is that? Is this dying? He's thinking, so this is what death feels like. But then, he gets jolted right back to reality, cause Red Eye is raising a fist, ready to deliver the final blow. Tejo realizes he's not dead yet, and his only thought is, okay, that wasn't it, but now I'm really gonna die. Meanwhile, Rolf is not having it. He's winding up for a fiery attack, and you can practically feel his determination. He unleashes his saga, the blaze shot, and flames absolutely erupt from his weapon, turning the entire battlefield into a freaking furnace. Get yourselves together, Tejo and unnamed Soldier B. Rolf screams, rallying the squad. Red Eye snarls back, I'm going to end you. But then, whoa, Red Eye hesitates. He's caught in this split-second dilemma. Should he finish off the nearly dead Tejo or take out that annoying archer first? Tejo notices this pause and seizes the opportunity. He makes like a possum and plays dead. The boss monster falls for it. He decides Rolf is the bigger threat and lunges. Rolf is gripping his crossbow, gritting his teeth, ready to face this beast head-on. The instant Red Eye's attention switches to Rolf, Tejo forces himself to get up, and he lunges at the monster. Nope, this battle is not over yet. He springs into action, launching a surprise attack powered by sheer willpower. The attack blasts right through Red Eye, and, sends a cucumber flying. Red Eye is completely blindsided. He screeches in pain and drops to the ground. Everyone's just like, ugh. Rolf taps Tejo on the shoulder. Yeah, maybe that was a little too much. Better put the poor thing out of its misery quick. Tejo, rising from the dust like a total boss, summons his saga. But get this, instead of his usual sword, he pulls out something wild. An absolutely enormous skull-splitting weapon. They call it the Skullbuster. With a primal scream, Tejo unleashes a Skullbuster attack that just obliterates Red Eye. The beast finally crumbles to the ground for good. There's this moment of silence. They can't believe they actually survived that. Then they all start hailing Idun, cheering their heads off. Meanwhile, Tejo is checking his stats. Syncing with Calstad is now at 7%. So yeah, the siege of the Black Fortress wraps up in a glorious victory with Tejo of all people unexpectedly leading the charge. While this is going on, another group claims victory over another boss, Frostmane. Led by a warrior named Braki, the crowd goes wild screaming for Thor. But overhead, there's this ominous raven watching. And it's like, what's the deal with this Lee Tejo? Why is Razgrid more interested in him than the other warrior Braki? Later that night, it's full-on party mode. Revelry and laughter are echoing through the fortress. The party is absolutely popping, and Rijin Lef is shouting for everyone to just enjoy themselves. They totally earned it. Amidst all the drinking and storytelling, Tejo finds a quiet moment up on the wall, just pondering everything that went down tonight. Rolf joins him, checking in on Te and reminding him just how close he was to being toast tonight. Tejo just shrugs it off with a smile. Then Siri walks over. She asks if she can join them and offers a well-deserved drink to our heroes. Rolf gets all flustered. He's totally blushing as he accepts the drink. Suddenly, they're swarmed by other warriors. Everyone wants to share a drink with the captain. Siri, being the awesome captain she is, readily accepts and offers a toast. For Valhalla, she shouts. For Captain Siri, the rowdy crowd cheers back. Rolf is not happy though. His private moment with the captain just got completely interrupted. Tejo watches all this happen, looking pretty thoughtful. He'd always thought Siri was kinda cold and stoic, but this is a totally different side to her. Meanwhile, Rolf is off somewhere else, probably recounting their crazy battle involving the boss and yes, still the cucumbers. Finally, Tejo's gaze lands back on Siri. He's really seeing her in a new light now, appreciating her presence. He muses to himself, turns out she can make that kind of expression too. Later that night at the Black Fortress, things are getting wild. We've got a dude running around with a torch, hyped up. He's charging right at someone, looking totally determined. And then, oh yeah, we got a full-on bro chest bump happening. Let's keep this party rocking, they yell. Seriously, this place is turning into an absolute rager, complete with a DJ. Everyone is totally caught in the party frenzy, twerking like there's no tomorrow. And our boy Tejo? He's smack dab in the middle of this madness, looking like he needs some serious eye bleach. When will this nightmare end? He's thinking. Then some random drunk dude wobbles over. Hey, you want to see something fun? He slurs. Someone immediately shouts, you can't show something like that here, you want to get cancelled? And bam, they tackle him and shut that down real quick. Suddenly, Rasgrid shows up, calling out Tejo's name, totally interrupting the party vibe. What? A Valkyrie is here this late? The crowd murmurs, surprised. Rasgrid announces that Tejo had a visitor, and who pops out from behind her? Hedda, waving all shyly. The crowd loses their minds. Okay, let's get out of here, Tejo mutters, turning bright red from embarrassment. They make their escape from the hall, leaving the teasing crowd behind. All right, back to drinking, someone yells. Nope, Rasgrid cuts in, shutting the celebration down cold. The Siri unit has a special mission tomorrow, she declares. Go to bed now, she orders them, seriously treating them like 10-year-olds at bedtime. Morning breaks, super peaceful and calm, a total contrast to the absolute dumpster fire party from the night before. There he is, someone from the crowd calls out to Tejo. Tejo just yawns, looking totally wiped out. The warriors immediately start the playful ribbing. Had fun last night, huh? Private one-on-one lesson with a Valkyrie? They tease. But Tejo is playing coy, not spilling any tea, which of course just makes them tease him even harder. Yeah, something happened, but it's not what you think, Tejo replies, blushing like crazy. Suddenly, all attention shifts as Siri takes command, laying out the mission details. Today's target? A dwarven mine located east of the fortress. After the gnolls took over, the dwarves sealed up the mines and headed deeper inside. We haven't heard a single thing from them since, Siri explains, sounding pretty grim. Their mission is simple. Head to those mines and investigate. Dwarves? You mean those dwarves? Tejo asks, totally picturing Gimli. Rolf has no clue what he's talking about, but he's way more interested in the dwarves' legendary beer. Also, he points out how manly dwarves are. Like even the women have beards. Siri clarifies the travel plan. To speed things up, they'll be using the infamous Black Flash. Man, just the thought of it makes Siri look like she's gonna lose her lunch. The Black Flash? The warriors react with pure shock and disbelief. But just admit it, guys, you have zero idea what that even is. Okay, flashback time. Back to the night before. Hedda's in Tejo's tent, making him promise to keep everything they talked about a secret. Also, I have something for you, she adds. And you know Tejo's heart is totally racing right now. She gives Tejo a golden apple necklace, promising it has healing powers. And them, she adds, a small pouch. Inside are golden apple fragments. She says these will help heal wounds and cleanse poisons and curses. Plus, apparently, they're awesome for beauty too. And for a final blessing, Hedda seals the deal with a totally surprising kiss, leaving Tejo utterly dumbstruck. Alright, fast forward back to the present. Tejo is literally neck-deep in snow, but hey, he's still got that golden apple necklace on. Around him are those coffins? He reaches out a hand and pulls himself out of the snow. Okay, Tejo knew this mission would be kinda wild, but launching them in coffins? Yeah, he did not see that coming. He looks back to check on the rest of the crew. Please tell me they're not dead, he desperately hopes, staring at a bunch of scattered limbs sticking out of the snow. Luckily, he's totally fine, probably thanks to that sweet necklace. A few moments later, they're now standing in front of the dwarven fortress. It's super eerily quiet. And check it out, the gates are wide open. Let's head inside, Siri commands. Whoa, it's pitch black in here. They whisper about how dwarves supposedly hate sunlight. They make it to the main hall. Siri announces their arrival, declaring they are warriors of Valhalla sent by Valkyrie Rasgrid. Tejo activates his skills, scanning the entire area. Suddenly, alarm bells are ringing. Captain Siri, he yells. So many red names. They're completely surrounded. Total ambush from all sides. Siri is quick on the draw, barking orders for shield wall formations. Let's go. Shields are slamming into formation with a crash as spears come raining down on them. The sound is insane, just smacks and thwacks echoing everywhere. Amidst the chaos, one warrior almost gets absolutely nailed in the head. Hey, hold your shield steady. These arrows hurt, he yells at the guy beside him. I got it. My bad, comes the reply. More arrows fly, piercing through the air, but the group is holding that formation strong. Siri asks Tejo if he can use this chaos to identify their attackers. Of course, he nods, ready to figure this out. And bam, we see the enemy. It's a dwarf, Tejo declares. Rolf interrupts, yelling, "What's a dwarf doing attacking us?" But wait, Tejo's not done reading the tags. It says, zombie. What? There are even zombies? Rolf freaks out even more. They're dwarf zombies, Tejo finally finishes. Just let him finish talking next time, Rolf, Siri grumbles. Tejo mumbles, trying to piece it all together. Like, does this mean everyone here is just dead? Yeah. Finally, the horrifying truth sinks in. The dwarves here have all been turned. They were already dead, reanimated into something grotesque and terrifying. The whole crew is officially in panic mode here. They're completely surrounded by dwarf zombies. Tejo's squinting through the darkness. Yeah, he's positive. He can see their tags clear as day. We've got a rapper ghoul dwarf, a songwriter ghoul dwarf, and even a choreography director ghoul dwarf. Seriously, what even is this zombie apocalypse? Tejo is absolutely insisting, look, despite the wild job titles, these dudes are 100% zombies. And just like that, one of the gross creatures gears up for an attack. Siri is yelling a warning, heads up, they're about to fire again. She's screaming for everyone to get their shields up. But then one of the crew members is like, Captain, and shows off a giant hole in his shield. He's wiggling a finger right through it. These shields are practically falling apart, barely holding on by a thread. They know one more solid hit, and they're toast. Everyone's starting to think, is this it? Is this where our epic journey bites the dust? But then a massive roar echoes through the hall, cutting through all the panic. Suddenly a figure comes absolutely darting toward the chaos. Everyone, close your eyes, the newcomer is yelling. And then he chucks this flaming bottle way up into the air. Boom. There's this blinding explosion. All you can hear are the screeches of totally disoriented zombies. Take that, undead beatboxers. The group seizes this chance, making a mad dash for it, following the guide who's yelling, "This way!" They hit this open hatch and he's just screaming at them to get in. Now, of course, because it's Rolf, he gets stuck trying to squeeze through. Classic Rolf. But hey, they're out of options. They just gotta push him through, hard. A moment later, guess what? They pop out the bottom, totally Super Mario style. It's like, woohoo, we made it. The crew is just completely blown away by the insane crystalline scenery inside this tunnel. It looks like something out of a fantasy movie. So, the guide explains this whole disaster is thanks to a vampire. Yeah, shocking, right? Nobody saw that coming. He just waltzed in yesterday and turned the place into a total dumpster fire. Okay, so here's the deal. The dwarf guide explains. If this vampire bites you, you turn into a ghoul. And get this, if you get bitten by another ghoul, guess what? You also turn into a ghoul. Seriously, it's like a ghoulception. He points over to a corner where about 20 dwarves are huddled together. These guys are the only ones left standing. Rough. Siri asks for the deets, and they get the vampire's description. Gray skin, bald head, dark eyes, and he can pop his claws in and out whenever he wants. He sounds more like a brawler than some fancy magic dude. Siri tells the dwarf, whose name is Isaac, to hold off on the revenge mission for a sec. They need a minute to actually prepare before they go charging in. They decide regrouping and getting a plan together is definitely the safer move right now. Smart. But Isaac is shaking his head. No way. He says they gotta do this now. There's something way more important than just revenge on the line here. Turns out they found something super valuable down in these mines too. They discovered some UNT. Everyone just looks completely shocked. Their faces are priceless. Rolf is especially shook, like, wait, what? UNT? And they're all asking, but seriously, what the heck is UNT? Okay, in a move that honestly doesn't surprise Tejo anymore at this point. These guys have absolutely zero clue what UNT is. Total facepalm moment. So, a little while later, the crew is making their way through the caves and they're chatting about UNT. Turns out it's this insanely strong metal. We're talking the kind of stuff you use to craft legendary items like Thor's hammer Mjolnir. No way are they letting this OP crafting material get looted by zombies. They finally arrive at the location where the UNT is and probably where that vampire is chilling too. Time to pump the brakes and strategize for real. Standing right in front of them is a fortress. Isaac tells them the sacred anvil where UNT gets refined using starlight and moonlight is on the top floor. Wait, starlight and moonlight? Underground? Tejo's brain is working overtime like, how in the world does a tower get starlight and moonlight when it's buried this deep? Turns out, there's actually a tower that goes all the way up to the surface. Okay, that makes sense. Tejo figures that's probably good news for them since vampires are supposed to be weak to sunlight, right? Let's hope so. The giant doors creak open and the crew steps inside, super cautiously. The tension is building, but then Siri lets out a battle cry cutting through the quiet. We're breaking through, no hesitation. You gotta love her energy. Inside, the zombie dwarves who were just chilling and enjoying their zombie beer suddenly hear all the chaos outside. Looks like happy hour is over. Moments later, the two sides are face to face. This is it. It's humans versus dwarf zombies. What a wild showdown. Get ready for the main event. Tejo, Rolf, and Siri are leading the charge full speed ahead, ready to dive into the madness. On the flip side, the Those dwarf zombies, looking like pure nightmare fuel, are charging too. Their eyes are glowing with this eerie, unnatural light. Creepy. Siri is barking orders. Shields up, get to the front. Honestly, it's hard not to get totally pumped when she's commanding the field like this. She's a born leader. You're up next, dwarf warriors, she commands. And these guys jump in, swinging hammers and axes like absolute pros. Then, bam, they unleash this crazy power move, tornado. Energy is just whirling around them like something straight out of an epic fantasy flick. So cool. They're smashing through the zombie ranks, carving out a path for the crew to push through. That's some solid tanking. Let's go, Tejo, Siri yells. He knows he's got to move fast and capitalize on this opening. The orders are coming in hot and fast. Drive them back. Isaac is right there at the forefront, holding their secret weapon. Oh man, what's he got? With this look of fierce determination, he whispers, "I'm sorry," as he gets ready. A moment later, he unleashes this fiery blast, raining down flames on the shells of his former comrades. That's gotta be tough. Through the storm of fire and chaos, our crew keeps pushing forward. Nothing's stopping them now. They reach these heavy, imposing doors. The sacred anvil is just beyond. The goal is in sight. Let's head inside, Siri suggests. It's super quiet in here, which is kinda creepy, but the tension is sky high. The doors creak open, revealing the UNT. Yes, loot time, but wait a second. You know this isn't gonna be smooth sailing, right? There's always a catch. Okay, the UNT is right there, but where's that vampire menace? Where's the boss? Eyes are darting everywhere until they finally spot him on the ceiling. The vampire brawler is hanging up there like some goth version of Spider-Man. What the actual heck? All right, archers, prepare to fire. They're taking aim, their bows creaking with tension. Don't mess this up. Tejo is sizing this dude up. Okay, yeah, he's definitely smaller than that giant gnoll they fought before, but dang, he somehow feels even more menacing. His tag is popping up saying Boss Stragos. Yep, confirmed. Definitely got those final boss vibes from this dude. Get ready for a raid boss fight. Bows are pulled taut, ready to let loose. The tension is absolutely unreal right now. But before they can even fire a single arrow, chaos erupts. Stragos is like a blur, slashing all of them in a split second. How did he move that fast? That's OP. How did you fools get in here? Stragos sneers, looking down on them. He's totally lording it over them, claiming the treasure as his own. Typical boss trash talk. Alright, hold up. This vampire dude is not playing around, right? He's got Tejo frozen stiff, sweat dripping, clamped down tight. And get this, he points at the others and is like, yeah, that means you guys too. They're all totally pinned down. Nowhere to run. Siri checks in. Everyone alright? But honestly, Rolf's face is screaming, nope. Still he manages, yes, Captain. Rolf's gripping his bow, but he knows it's basically useless in this situation. He mutters, looks like he didn't just kill us off on purpose. The vampire just lets out this nasty laugh, totally sizing them up. He's taunting them now. Man, warriors like you, it'd be a waste to just end you. He's totally savoring their fear. Then he drops the bomb. Instead, I'm gonna turn you into my ghoul army. Instant panic. They're picturing themselves as mindless zombies. Tejo screams, heck no, I'd rather die. But hold up, if he dies here, he becomes a zombie. No effing way. Suddenly, zing, an arrow shoots by, super fast. And the vampire just casually catches it. The beast growls, oh, you wanna resist? He's clearly kinda enjoying this little challenge. Captain Siri, she doesn't even hesitate. Seeing Siri stand tall, Isaac gets hyped. He declares, yeah, I'll die fighting before I ever serve as your zombie lapdog. And then, he just unleashes literal fire at the dude. Flames just engulf the creature. But it just laughs, mocking their attempt. Pathetic. Fire? That's nothing to me. It roars, and the fire just slides off him like water. Siri shouts, shield wall, protect Isaac. She's not giving up. Boom! Shields slam together, forming a barrier. But this creature's power is insane. He's just smashing through them like they're ragdolls. Someone yells, 3 Musketeers tornado attack, trying to go for that combined power move, but the creature just chuckles, totally unfazed. That barely tickles. But the 3 Musketeers don't quit. They keep that tornado attack going, actually pushing the monster back inch by painful inch. Meanwhile, Tejo's got something cooking. He's waiting for the perfect moment. He gets his hands on a lever. When the vampire's right where he wants him, he slams that lever down hard. Whoosh! A shaft opens up way above, light floods the room, totally cutting through the darkness. The vampire screams in agony as the sunlight starts burning him. Next move? Tejo breaks the handle. No way anyone's closing that now. The creature is sputtering under the sun's power, sizzling like bacon on a hot pan. Someone asks, carefully approaching, okay, what now? Rolf asks Tejo if he actually knows how to finish vampires off. Tejo's kinda stumped, stake through the heart, maybe? Or hey, maybe they can just wait for this guy to totally crisp up and die. But then panic shoots through Tejo. He yells, wait, he's casting a spell. He's pointing at the enemy, but it's too late. The vampire actually summoned a dark cloud to block the sun. Siri barks, kill him quickly. But then, a swarm of vampire bats just swoop in and attack. Thousands of them are pouring in through that hole, summoned by their master. There's a giant whoosh, and the vampire transforms himself into a giant bat. Yup, the creature has now transformed into Burgaz Strago's beastly second phase. Talk about a glow up, or maybe a glow down. The beast is screaming, eyes blazing green. I shouldn't have let my guard down. He vows, I'll make sure you never lay a hand on me again. Oh boy. Tejo yells a warning. He's about to spit something out. Watching as the monster fires a glowing green blob. Siri commands, scatter. But one poor dude is a little slow on the uptake, and bam, instantly turned into a pile of bones. Nasty laughter fills the whole cavern, totally mocking their efforts. Poison blobs are shooting everywhere now. The whole floor is basically covered. They are seriously running out of room to maneuver. Tejo's thoughts are racing but focused. We can't just keep running. He grits his teeth, readying himself. Flame-like energy explodes from his sword. This is it, a desperate all-or-nothing strike. The beast mutters, coming right at me. You're a fool, as he spits out another giant glob. But Tejo? He zooms in with insane speed, dodging everything. At the very last second, he fakes him out and somehow ends up behind the monster. Wait, what? An afterimage? Yup, Tejo's move was so fast the beast is seeing double. The creature's shock is literally plastered all over its face. Those glowing eyes are practically bugging out. Tejo is not wasting this chance. He screams his battle cry, trying to hype himself up. Clang! Metal hits bone as Tejo lands a hit. But his sword breaks. Tejo's eyes go wide with surprise. The creature starts taunting him, mocking his failed attempt. Seriously? That sword can't even scratch my skin. Tejo stumbles, his mind racing, trying to figure out his next move. He somehow ends on top of the beast, actually landing on its back. He awkwardly tries to explain, inertia made me do it. The creature is livid, flapping its huge wings, yelling at Tejo to get off. High up in the air now, Tejo is trying to process this situation. Yeah, plummeting to his death is definitely not on the agenda right now, but the creature's had enough of excuses. That's not my problem, it bellows pure rage all over its monstrous face. Okay, so Tejo tries to bargain. How about this? You drop me off, and we can, continue our fight on the ground? Tejo's a little surprised when the beast is like, okay, sure, but turns out it had other plans. It's sneering in its mind. You fool, I'm gonna slam you into the ground and turn you into minced meat. Classic villain bait and switch. Suddenly, Tejo feels this weird power surging through him. His surroundings start to glow. He can almost hear the chains of fate rattling. He's thinking, hold on a second. He realizes something huge is about to happen. Could a new saga power be activating? Is he about to get a serious buff? Boom. A blinding light just burst through the whole cavern. Everyone is totally shocked. Tejo's mind is blown, like how is a brand new saga popping off right now? Burgot meanwhile is furious. He's thrashing around, basically yelling, what the heck do you think you're doing? The creature is totally raging, warning him not to pull any funny business. Hey, can you chill for a second? I can't focus, Tejo asks Burgot. Oh, the audacity of this dude, Burgot screams. But then, boom, a sudden blast of energy, super bright and powerful, and then it clicks. He remembers Calstad had this insane ability called the Dragon Knight, which let him control any flying beast. Alright, new saga incoming, and the name, He Who Commands the Dragons. There's this huge whooshing sound, and just like that, Burgot transforms into a totally harmless giant bat. Tejo smoothly maneuvers the creature down to the ground. And honestly, everyone looking at it is like, wait, it's actually kinda cute. Tejo lands, gives the bat a confident pat, and goes, good bat. Now the squad is all huddled up, scratching their heads like, okay, so, what now? Rolf whispers. They just can't help themselves. They start giving the bat cuddles and scritches. Someone's like, it's so gentle, and another one yells, and it's so soft. But Siri, the smart one, is watching closely, totally skeptical. Like, what is really going on with this thing? She stretches its face and gives it a tug. Suddenly the beast's face changes and it starts trembling. And just like that, Stragos aka Burgo takes back control. It's absolutely livid. You dare mock me? I'll show you no mercy. Fueled by pure rage, the creature breaks free from the mind control. It roars, promising it's not going easy on them this time. Yep, the team's got zero choice but to get ready for what looks like a serious fight. Oh no, the saga isn't complete yet. There's a time limit to it. Tejo exclaims. Well, in that case, no choice but to mount it. Again. And voila! The beast is back in its chibi form. Tejo's plan? Everyone goes all out on this thing to finish it off for good. Sounds good, the group agrees. They're leaving Tejo to lead the charge. He's fully committed now, yelling, "Let's go." And just like that, they're taking to the skies. Tejo orders the beast to fly as high as he can. As they pierce through the sky, the sun blaze becomes his ultimate ally. Stragos starts sizzling from the sun and you can hear it shrieking in pain. Next, Tejo orders the beast to dive bomb back down as hard as it possibly can. Stragos has no choice but to obey. The impact when they hit the ground is absolutely deafening, a straight sky-to-ground smash with a massive blow. The sheer force of it shatters the whole scene around them. Tejo gets himself ready for the final blow, and activates his saga, Blade of the Warrior, Skullbuster. It brings some seriously devastating force. Tejo's pretty much hit his limit, but as the smoke clears, he knows deep down it's not over. The beast is still somehow kicking. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Isaac yells, "Out of the way," then you hear it, "Fire in the hole." Looks like Isaac had one last trick up his sleeve. Tejo barely manages to get out of the way in time. Flames explode, sending Tejo flying and then face-planting right on the ground. Then Rolf comes in screaming for more kindling. And you won't believe it, he throws a skeleton into the flames. Like, why does this dude even have a skeleton with him? Rolf demands confirmation. Tejo, is it dead? Tejo checks using his special vision. Seems so, he replies cautiously, finally able to take a breath. Sometime later, the battlefield settles into this uneasy quiet. With the immediate danger handled, it's time to regroup and check the loot. The whole point of their journey, a small piece of divine metal finally comes into view. This is it, the divine metal, Isaac says, holding up the precious piece. The crew is genuinely surprised. Because it's so tiny. Like, it's so small, it honestly wouldn't have been a big deal even if the vampire had taken it. What the heck, dude? Isaac is hopping mad. You fools! This much metal could be forged into a ring, he yells. Forget it. He grumbles and slams the chest shut. He hands the chest over to the warriors of Valhalla, declaring that they have the honor of refining the divine metal. See, the dwarves' stronghold is trashed right now. They have no way to refine it themselves. Understood. Siri vows to make sure it gets back to HQ safely. Alright, time for a well-earned break, right? Does this mean it's time for food and drinks? Rolf asks, eyes practically sparkling. Isaac agrees, saying he'll crack open the barrels. The crew is totally hyped up, yelling about getting to taste that legendary dwarven beer. No, Siri interrupts. Total mood kill, but she's right. They don't have time for that. They have to get back home ASAP. The crew is crushed. They're about to leave empty-handed, which Isaac says is absolutely unacceptable. With a snap of his fingers, Isaac beckons them to follow him. A massive door creaks open, and what do you know? It's the dwarven armory. Seriously, it looks like something straight out of a legend. The crew is completely blown away, eyes wide, jaws practically on the floor. They're standing in this incredible gold-lit armory packed with weapons that look insane. Everyone's stoked now, chanting about the dwarven weapons like they just hit the jackpot. This isn't just any gear, folks. These are the best weapons in the entire realm. Isaac nudges Tejo out of his daze, urging him to pick out his own gear. Tejo snaps back to reality and is like, okay, yeah, I gotta jump on this opportunity. He thinks for a second, what if he uses his power to scan for the absolute best weapon? With his eyes glowing, he starts his inspection. Weapons light up as he scans, and he can actually see what tier they are. Suddenly, something catches his eye. This one, he thinks, instantly drawn to a piece that just stands out. A while later, the whole crew gathers outside. The dwarves are thanking the warriors for avenging their fallen comrades. Isaac compliments Tejo's keen eyes, saying he picked the Hawkwing cloak. Apparently, it was the only blue item in the entire armory. Tejo asks Isaac if it has some sort of unique ability. Isaac promises to teach Tejo a special spell to activate its unique powers, hinting it could even help him get back to his fortress. Next thing you know, a massive hawk is soaring through the sky. This is awesome. Tejo screeches. Did he just transform into a bird? He's maneuvering skillfully through the air, and Tejo can already see their destination in the distance, the Black Fortress. Let's go, he shouts, totally pumped for what's next. The rest of the crew is right behind him, cruising in their slightly less epic coffin transport. For Valhalla, they all cry. The squad finally reaches the intimidating, snow-covered Black Fortress. Tejo, Siri, and Rolf are now standing in front of the Valkyrie Razgrid debriefing their mission. They hand her the fancy chest containing the UNT. Impressive work, she congratulates them. The Fallen will be reborn as Steel Warriors, she declares. The mission is officially a success, and she tells them to go get some rest. Walking down the stone hallway, Rolf is already trying to drag Tejo out for a drink. But our boy is totally exhausted and immediately shuts him down. Siri jumps in, giving Tejo major props for being the key to their victory. You did well, warrior of Adun. Tejo gets all embarrassed and flustered, saying it was all thanks to the team. Another offer for a victory drink is up for grabs, but yeah, Tejo's really not feeling it. His mind goes a mile a minute. He's replaying the insane fight with Stragos, a seriously powerful dude who could summon storm clouds and turn into a freaking monster. But man, that brutal fight came with a massive reward. He raked in a ton of runes from that win. A quick peek at his stats shows his synchro rate has hit a whopping 9%. He's almost there, just 1% left to go. A huge grin takes over his face as he clenches his fist in excitement. He can't help but wonder what's going to happen when it finally hits 10%. Meanwhile, way up above the snowy mountains, the Valkyrie Regenlif is flying patrol. She realizes she's probably gone a little too far and decides to head back. But then her eyes widen in shock. Down below, some enormous furry thing smashes through a mountain pass. The impact sends snow and rock everywhere with an earth-shattering boom. The whole ground shakes, and the sound is just plain wrong. This thing feels like it's seriously bad news. Should she check it out? Yeah, nah. It's too dangerous to get any closer. She just pops out a golden swan and sends it flying. Whatever is out there, she has to let the others know at once. Suddenly, Razgrid is slamming her palms on the table. A huge army is on its way, she yells, jumping to her feet. But Regenlif looks totally out of it, completely confused. She's thinking, how did I get here this fast? And I already gave my report. Her memory of the last few hours is a total blank. Razgrid snaps into commander mode. She'll be requesting reinforcements from Valhalla. Regenlif, meanwhile, is mentally buffering like, why can't I remember? Did I just zone out for a full minute? Later, Siri calls all the warriors together for a quick meeting. She cuts right to the chase, telling them they need to be 100% ready for the battle tomorrow, which means no drinking tonight. Rolf and Bjorn immediately start whining. As she looks over the crowd, she realizes their MVP is missing. I don't see Tejo, she thinks. Where did that guy go? Turns out, Tejo snuck away to an empty, snow-filled courtyard. He needs to figure out how to use his cloak properly. With a look of pure focus, he makes a decision. He's going to train all night long right up until the fighting starts. The next morning is cold and full of tension. Backup has finally shown up. A Valkyrie named Ingrid from the Njord army walks into the command room. She reports that she's brought 500 low-rank warriors with her. With no time to soften the blow, we hear the stats. They're staring down 6,000 troops with only 2,500 of their own to fight back. Regenlif says they'll only be able to slow the enemy down, but she can use her defensive magic if things get really bad. Ingrid's face is dead serious. Then let's go, she says, turning to head out with the other Valkyries. For Asgard and the 9 realms. The enemy finally arrives at the gates. An officer screams out the order, battle formations. A berserker dude named Vlaki leads the first charge, letting out a massive roar, for Thor. Up on the fortress walls, Siri is commanding her archers. Soldiers of Uller, get ready to fire, she yells, her voice full of power as she echoes the war cry for Asgard and the 9 realms. Tejo is right in the mix. He needs a ranged weapon right now. He materializes Thunderbolt, a crossbow with shock effects. He takes aim and yells out his own battle cry, for Hedda and for Idun. On the other side of the field, the enemy army is closing in. It's a horrifying horde of snarling wolf creatures and massive tusked war beasts that make the ground tremble with every single step. The battle kicks off as the sky goes dark with a storm of arrows. A massive volley pours down, hitting flesh and shields with thuds and cracks. The wolf monsters shriek as they get hit, but the front line hardly even flinches, just soaking up the damage with their insane numbers and pushing forward. Hundreds of climbing axes fly through the air, sinking into the fortress walls with a loud clang. The beast warriors don't waste a second and start climbing the walls, using their claws and axes to pull themselves up the stone. Up top, the men have a nasty grin on their faces. You think you can just climb up here? They shout, get a load of this. They tip a cauldron over the side, pouring boiling liquid down on the climbers that sizzles and burns. In other spots, defenders are dropping huge rocks, smashing the attackers to bits on the ground below. A gigantic beast, looking like some kind of mammoth, charges forward like an unstoppable train. It smashes into the gatehouse, destroying it and throwing defenders around like they're nothing. And just like that, the gate is wide open. The horde lets out a roar and floods through the opening. The inside of the fortress turns into total chaos, with fighters going head-to-head with the snarling beasts. In the middle of it all, Rolf calmly aims his crossbow and fires, setting off a huge explosion that blows a pack of monsters to pieces. The rest of the crew are deep in the fight, swords moving like lightning as they cut down enemies. But then a shadow suddenly falls over the battlefield and makes Tejo look up at the sky. His voice shakes with fear. There's something up there. Dozens of dark-winged figures are coming down. They're monsters, and they're riding on dragons. One of them opens its mouth, and you can see flames building inside. They're wyverns. The sky erupts in fire as the wyverns unleash scorching streams of flame, burning the warriors on the ground to a crisp. Just when it looks like they're all about to be torched, Regenlif reaches upward. By the power of the divine rune, she screams. A giant golden shield of energy explodes into existence over the fortress, blocking the dragon fire. But you can tell it's taking everything she has. Rajinlif clenches her jaw. This barrier won't hold forever, she yells. We have to take out those enemies in the sky. Hearing that, Taeho's eyes go wide. He knows what to do. He just sprints towards the edge of the wall. Taeho, Siri yells, totally shocked. But he doesn't even look back. It is time for him to step up. With zero hesitation, he takes a flying leap off the fortress wall. As he falls, he focuses his energy, his voice echoing with power as he chants the words Isaac taught him. Taeho dives off the fortress wall, yelling out a chant as he plummets toward the ground. A blinding flash of light completely swallows him up. When the light vanishes, his body is covered in black feathers. He's no longer a man, but a freaking hawk, soaring through the sky. He pulls a sharp turn, feeling the raw power of his new form. He can't help but think to himself, nice. He flies high above the battle, totally invisible to the enemy wyverns that are burning the fortress to a crisp. It's time to show these guys what he has been working on. Screaming, "Here I come," he dives straight down like a missile. He locks onto his first victim, a lone wyvern and its rider. As he gets closer, he starts another chant and his talons begin to glow with immense power. But wait, those are not talons. His human leg suddenly pops into existence, crackling with energy. He smashes into the enemy with a legendary flying bird kick, knocking the rider clean off his mount. Taeho lands perfectly on the empty saddle and the wyvern does not even flinch. Mission complete. With a massive grin, he grabs the reins and shouts, "This wyvern is all mine now." He flexes with his new ride and pops another skill. Saga, he who commands the dragons. But every good dragon knight needs a proper weapon. "I need a spear," he yells, activating the Saga weapon of the dragon knight. A flash of light later, a weapon appears in his hand, and it is a bamboo spear. Are you kidding me? Well, disappointed but not defeated, he figures it is better than nothing. "Let's go, wyvern." His new dragon buddy lets out a roar and unleashes a jet of fire, instantly vaporizing an enemy wyvern. Taeho yanks the reins, hungry for the next fight. Next, he charges right back into the chaos. With a battle cry, he becomes a blue streak across the sky. That flimsy-looking bamboo spear somehow punches through wyverns and their riders like they are made of paper. Below, the warriors of Valhalla are going absolutely nuts, cheering for Idun's champion. The sky is literally raining burning enemies as Taeho clears the battlefield all by himself. Even Rajinlif cannot believe her eyes. Truly impressive, she mutters, completely shocked that he handled all those wyverns alone. But the fight is far from over. Something's coming. A new enemy appears on the horizon, a gigantic swarm of winged monsters. A nasty-looking harpy with glowing yellow eyes is leading the attack. Taeho grits his teeth, realizing there are way too many to take on by himself. But then, he gets an idea. "Fly down, Yvern," he commands, diving straight for the fortress walls. He flies in low and fast, yelling out, "Captain Siri." Siri is already running along the wall and does not miss a beat. Taeho reaches out his hand. She makes a huge leap, grabs on, and he pulls her right onto the wyvern's back. Now a duo, they fly back up, charging directly at the harpy army. And now, it is Siri's time to shine. She activates her Saga. A witch's arrow never misses its target. A massive storm of glowing red arrows appears out of thin air, launching into the harpies and ripping through them with 100% accuracy. The entire sky erupts in dozens of magical explosions, completely wiping out the whole flock in just a few seconds as the warriors on the ground erupt in cheers once again. Rajinlif watches with a slight smile as Rosgrid joins her. Idun's warrior is amazing, she admits. So far, he has played the most significant role in this battle. Just as she says that, a deep rumble shakes the very air around them. Something huge and glowing red comes hurtling down from the sky. It slams into the fortress courtyard with incredible force, sending warriors flying everywhere. A swirling vortex of red energy and dust erupts from where it landed. Taeho and Siri can only stare down in total shock. Something just hit the ground. Taeho can't believe it. From their view, it looks like a massive glowing meteor. The rock starts to crack and crumble. A single, terrifying cyan eye glows from inside the cracks. Then a giant, clawed hand smashes its way out. It is followed by a monster's foot that stomps down, shaking the entire fortress. Taeho and Siri are frozen in horror. What is that thing? It is absolutely enormous. The creature finally breaks free, a horrifying giant covered in shadows and glowing blue runes. A boss has arrived, the giant Hegut. The warriors on the ground look up at this towering monster with pure despair. "How are we even supposed to fight that thing?" one of them screams. The giant takes a step forward and the sheer pressure from its presence is overwhelming. Siri immediately snaps into action. "Let's head back at once, Taeho. You can put me down where Rolf and the others are." The tension's climbing fast. The giant's in motion now, every stomp sending shockwaves through the chaos. Down on the wall, Rajinlif prepares herself. She raises her hands to the sky as her body begins to glow with a golden light. "Odin, preserve us," she prays. By the power of the divine rune, the giant lets out a deafening roar, ready to unleash hell on the fortress. The giant Hegget does not waste any time. With a massive roar, it smashes its giant fist right into the fortress walls. The impact is absolutely devastating, sending unprepared warriors flying like ragdolls. Reginlif grits her teeth, her entire body trembling as she takes the brunt of the shockwave. The monster just glares down with its glowing blue eyes and lets out another furious roar, energy crackling around it. It raises both fists, this time wreathed in violent purple power, and brings them down in a cataclysmic smash. Reginlif stumbles as the golden barrier shatters like glass. In unison, the warriors cry out in panic. The tide is turning fast. "Are you all right?" Rasgrid asks as the duo does everything in their power to keep the glass intact. "Yes," Reginlif gasps, "but the barrier once set lasts much longer." Rasgrid's expression turns grim. The warriors they have here are completely outmatched. They do not stand a chance against that thing. The giant looks down. Yep, he's about to bring that massive log down hard. "If only we could use the true power of the Valkyries," she mutters, her hands glowing with a brilliant golden light. Rasgrid is absolutely losing it, screaming at the top of her lungs for Odin to help. This giant monster is just towering over her, and its power level is completely off the charts. She knows they are totally outnumbered, shouting that they can't possibly face this thing with a bunch of low-class warriors as the barrier gets completely shattered. The sheer force of the blow sends Reginlif and Rasgrid flying through the air. In total desperation, Rasgrid begs for permission to act. She looks up to the sky, pleading for the authority to unleash their sealed combat powers. But just then, a single black raven with creepy glowing red eyes comes swooping down from the clouds. A cold, powerful voice booms from the bird, a direct message from Odin himself, and it says, "I refuse." The raven isn't finished, its voice echoing like a god's as the giant keeps wrecking everything below. "This is merely a test," he declares. Odin's message is brutal, and to the point. Valhalla only has room for strong warriors. The Valkyries are left speechless, their final hope completely stomped out. Meanwhile, down on the battlefield, the warriors from Thor's army are not waiting for any permission slips. Hardcore-looking dude named Braki just roars for the warriors of the gods to charge. His men let out a massive cheer, fueled by pure battle rage. He rushes forward, his whole body glowing with a green aura. He screams a massive war cry for Thor. With a huge leap, he brings his glowing weapon down. He smashes it right into the giant's neck. Seeing this, other legions get fired up and charge in, screaming the names of their own gods like Odin and Olar. From the fortress wall, Tejo is taking in all the chaos. He lands his wyvern next to Siri and Rolf and asks them what the new plan is. Siri immediately takes command, explaining that she and Rolf will make an opening for him to fly in and attack, adding that Braki's crazy charge actually created a weak spot. Tejo is confused, asking her where this weak spot is. He activates his special eye, and suddenly he can see it, a fresh gash on the giant's head. Tejo yells that they're going in again, and his wyvern roars, ready for action. Siri shouts her final plan to Rolf, telling him they'll use the siege ballista, and then they will activate both of their sagas at the same time. Rolf is completely stunned. He can't even process the idea of activating two sagas at once. Tejo circles high above the giant on his wyvern, getting into the perfect position. He knows this is his only chance, so he has to make it count. The giant's glowing eyes lock onto him, focusing an insane amount of killing intent on the tiny guy in the sky. Tejo braces himself for the attack, but the giant is way faster. A massive hand swings through the air and swats Tejo and his wyvern out of the sky like a fly. He goes hurtling straight for the ground. He crashes with so much force that he creates a huge crater in the stone courtyard. The Valkyries watch this happen in absolute horror, with Reginleif gasping out for Idun's warrior. Rasgrid's face shifts from shock to pure determination in an instant. She makes a split-second choice and just bolts as the other Valkyries call out her name. She doesn't even slow down, yelling back that she's going to Idun's warrior. As she runs, she thinks to herself that right now he is their only hope. Tejo is lying broken in the crater with blood pouring from a wound on his head. He's completely surrounded by the enemy's beast-like warriors. He tells himself to get up, but his body won't listen. A whole pack of wolf men closes in on him, their red eyes gleaming hungrily. But an incredible exhaustion hits him, and all he can think is that he's so sleepy. His vision starts to fade as he wonders if this is really how he's going to die. Suddenly he hears a gentle voice calling his name. Tejo. He thinks he jolts awake, but he's not in the crater anymore. He's in his own fantasy apartment, the one he imagined having with Hedda as his new wife. Hida is sitting right across from him, telling him to hurry up and eat the pieces of golden apple on his plate. She gives him a warm smile, saying that since it's his imagination anyway, she'll just feed them to him. She brings the food to his mouth and says, "Ah, good boy." Back in the real world, a bleeding Tejo is still in the middle of the battle. A blinding golden light explodes from his body, stunning Razgrid, who had just managed to reach him. She can't believe it, exclaiming that the light is divinity, the power of a god, and she wonders how a mere lowest-class warrior could possibly wield it. Tejo stands up in the crater, covered in a golden aura, his hair now is shining blonde. The wolf men all around him start to back away, whimpering in confusion and fear. Tejo looks down at his hands, feeling the massive change in his body. His eyes are practically glowing with this new power. He turns to face the horde of enemies that still surrounds him. He lets out a massive roar, unleashing his power in a huge shockwave. The blast sends all of the wolfmen flying in every direction. He stands there, fist clenched, and screams out, "Long live Hedda and Idun." Way up on the wall, Rolf and Siri are just staring in total amazement, shouting down to ask if he's all right. The giant ballista is ready to yeet something into orbit. Siri calls out, "All good up here," as Rolf casually asks Tejo if he can do it one more time. But there's a huge problem. Tejo is sweating and panicking because his wyvern is gone, and he has no way to get into the air. Just then, Razgrid lands right behind him and tells him not to worry because he can ride on her. Tejo's brain completely short-circuits at this, his face turning beet red as he stammers, asking what in the world she could possibly mean by that. While our boy is having a meltdown, the battle is still raging on as Thor's warriors let out another war cry and charge the giant. They start climbing up its massive body, scrambling up its legs and chest like a swarm of insects. Braki is leading the charge, hacking away at the monster's leg and screaming for it to die. But it's totally useless. The giant barely even notices them before it flexes and sends all the warriors flying off with a deep roar. Tejo is still completely stuck on Razgrid's very weird offer, holding his hands up and asking what she means by ride on you. Razgrid has absolutely zero time for his confusion as she says a single word, Draco. In a flash, a blinding explosion of blue energy erupts from her body. When the light finally fades, Razgrid is gone, and in her place is a massive, magnificent white dragon with crystal scales and feathered wings, leaving Tejo to just stare in absolute shock. The dragon Razgrid turns its huge head and says that she thinks she understands why Odin didn't want them to get involved. She then looks right at Tejo as she tells him he's much stronger than she ever thought. From the wall, Siri and Rolf watch the insane transformation with grim and determined faces. This battle? It's practically owned by Tejo now. Meanwhile, Braki is still fighting with everything he has. As Razgrid's words repeat in his head, "Claim your victory with your own hands," Tejo's expression settles into pure focus. Razgrid, now a glorious white dragon, lowers her massive head. "Now is our chance," she tells him. The giant monster continues its rampage, swatting warriors away like they're nothing more than flies. Tejo barely gets out an "excuse me" before hopping on her back, and she gives him one simple warning: hold on tight. They blast into the sky like a rocket, cutting through the chaos. Tejo clings on for dear life, the sheer speed pulling his face back as he screams into the wind how fast they are going. From a safe distance, Siri and Rolf watch the dragon soar into the air. "Now Rolf," Siri screams, her eyes burning with pure focus. "Yes, Captain," Rolf roars right back. They are standing behind a huge ballista, its bolt glowing with an ominous red and green energy. Together, they pour their power into it, activating a simultaneous saga. Elsewhere on the field, the warrior Vlaki lets out a blood-chilling scream. His face is a mask of absolute fury, his fangs bared as he howls for Thor. He activates his own saga. He's called the Son of God, and his axe starts to shine with a brilliant turquoise light. At that exact moment, Rolf and Siri fire their ultimate attack, the Witch and Hunter's arrows. Their special technique, a never-miss-their-mark-burst shot, is officially locked and loaded. As Tejo and Razgrid rocket towards the giant, the ground support finally unleashes hell. Valaki swings his axe, sending a massive wave of crackling green energy flying straight ahead. The ballista fires its enormous blazing red bolt. The two devastating attacks smash into the monster's chest at the same time, creating a cataclysmic explosion of fire and pure force. This is the opening they were waiting for. "Now, warrior of Idun," Razgrid commands. Tejo's eyes flare with a golden blue light. "With this one strike, I have to risk everything." He channels all of his power, becoming a living storm of raw energy as his saga activates. The charge of a warrior is like a storm. He becomes a spear of pure light, piercing right through the smoke and dust from the explosion. He smashes into the giant's wounded chest, and the impact is so powerful it shatters the ground beneath the monster. The force of his charge is completely unstoppable, tearing straight through the monster's body. It sends the behemoth crashing down into a crater of its own making, finally and utterly defeated. With the battle won, the scene shifts to the Grand Hall of Valhalla, where the warriors are celebrating with an absolutely massive feast. The Valkyrie Reginlif stands before them all, raising a golden horn high into the air. "Warriors, I honor your bravery," she proclaims to the crowd. "It is an honor to be among you today." The warriors cheer back. Hail Valkyries. Hail Reginleif. She lets out a laugh. They can't go toasting everyone all night long. Reginleif then turns her attention to the stone-faced Razgrid. My sister, the Ice Princess, is Razgrid. Fill the cups of the two who stood out the most today. The cheers start rolling, calling for her, and her eye twitches. She grumbles that she should just punch them all instead. She takes a deep breath, trying to get her composure back. Then she faces the crowd and says, I will call them out. From Thor's Legion, Braki, she announces. The hall erupts in cheers for the invincible warrior as Braki, the axe-wielding powerhouse from the battle, stands up to get his drink. And from Idun's Legion, she continues, Lee Tae-ho. The cheers for Tae-ho are somehow even louder. He's the warrior visited by a Valkyrie, and the warrior who rode a Valkyrie too. Razgrid's face turns dark with Silent's fury, and with this amazing achievement, these two will be promoted to inferior-ranked warriors. Tae-ho is completely stunned. He thinks to himself, inferior-ranked warrior. Isn't that the same rank as Bjorn? The hall explodes with another round of cheers that are just deafening. Now let us drink. Reginleif shouts, kicking off the next round of partying. Skål! The warriors all roar, raising their mugs to Tae-ho and Braki. Braki clinks his mug against Tae-ho's with a huge, toothy grin on his face. For the very first time, Tae-ho feels like he actually belongs here, and he smiles right back. He looks around at his fellow warriors who are pressuring him to chug his drink. He thinks to himself, this feels good, spurred on by the chance of down it all. He tips the gigantic mug back and drains the whole thing in one go. The crowd goes absolutely nuts, hoisting him up on their shoulders and cheering for the real man. But unseen in the shadows, a cloaked figure is watching the party from a dark corner. Tae-ho, was it? He mutters to someone. He managed to use divinity as the lowest rank. That's impressive, I guess, he admits. But even my kids could do that much. He pauses for a moment. Still, since you asked, he says, I might help out just this once. He then turns and melts right back into the shadows. 1 week later, we're at the quarters for inferior-ranked warriors. Inside, Tae-ho is fast asleep, warm in his bed, mouth wide open. He's snoring away peacefully with a little bit of drool trailing down his chin. But suddenly, his bed is violently flipped over, sending him tumbling straight onto the hard floor. What's happening? He yells, scrambling to get back on his feet. Standing in his doorway is the same cloaked figure from the feast, and he's crackling with raw blue lightning. He does not look happy to be there. Tae-ho just stares, completely bewildered. Who are you? He asks. The lightning strikes way too perfectly at the guy, and now he's seriously wondering if this is the Truman Show, but with gods. The figure speaks, his voice low and rumbling with power. Inferior-ranked warrior Lee Tae-ho, correct? He starts listing off Tae-ho's achievements, killing 2 commander-level gnolls and pushing back a giant. You're being treated like a hero among the lowest warriors, he says, and you can hear the disgust in his voice. But stuff like that, my kids could do without a second thought, he adds, pulling off his cloak. He slams the tip of a massive gleaming sword into the ground right in front of Tae-ho's feet. Alright, time to check out who this guy's is. He feels it in his bones. This guy isn't just strong. He's blink and you're deleted. Strong. Valkyrie level? Maybe even stronger. Then the name appears. Ragnar Lodbrok, followed by 3 question marks. I came to have a match. Show me all the power you have, he says. Tae-ho throws his hands up, totally confused. I asked who you are. He starts trying to talk some sense into the guy. Why are you suddenly trying to pick a fight with me? He is not about to throw down with some random, overpowered psycho for no reason at all. Ragnar just gives him a look, a slow, predatory grin spreading across his face. His eye flashes with a menacing, golden light. Do I really need to give a reason to someone who is about to die? An ice-cold chill shoots straight down Tae-ho's spine. Ragnar stands there ready to fight, his intentions suddenly becoming crystal clear. Just who is this guy, and what could he possibly want with our boy Tae-ho? Bam! Just like that, Tae-ho and the legendary warrior Ragnar Lodbrok are locked in a super tense standoff. Ragnar cracks a smirk, practically oozing with confidence. Tae-ho doesn't waste a single second, firing up his skill. The charge of a warrior is like a storm. He rockets forward in a blur of blue energy, but Ragnar just casually parries the attack. Tae-ho pushes even harder, letting out a huge battle cry. But Ragnar's face stays calm, like he's bored, easily deflecting every single one of Tae-ho's strikes. Their swords clash like crazy, sending sparks flying all over the place. Tae-ho is completely floored by this guy's skill. He thinks, is this guy using some kind of parry cheat code or what? Gritting his teeth in frustration. He knows a straight-up sword fight is useless, so he switches up his game plan. If that's how it is, I'll just aim for his back. He fakes a swing, drops his own sword, and blitzes forward, trying to use pure speed to get behind Ragnar. But Ragnar is already a step ahead of him. He just pivots, sidestepping Tae-ho's rush like it was nothing. As Tae-ho zooms past, Ragnar lands a devastating hit that sends our boy crashing hard into a tree. He collapses to his knees, coughing and clutching his chest. He is so freaking strong, he wheezes out. Looking at the flickering flame from his goddess's blessing, he realizes a terrifying truth. If it wasn't for this blessing, I would be dead. Ragnar calmly strolls toward him and explains that people who die here are steel warriors and they just go to the real resting place for warriors. With a cold, intense stare, he adds, "So even if you die, don't get too sad about it." Then he vanishes, reappearing in a flash of brutal slashing attacks. His eyes are practically glowing with power. A raven circles in the sky as Ragnar stands there waiting for Tejo's next move. "Come on, give it your all." Ragnar pushes. "I'll take it head on." Tejo activates another saga. The charge of a warrior is like a storm. He channels all his power, chanting as he rushes forward again. He leaps high into the air, creating a massive ghostly hammer above him. "Warrior's sword!" he yells, bringing the giant weapon crashing down. Skullbuster. The attack slams into the ground, kicking up a huge explosion of dirt and raw energy. Ragnar stands unfazed, a spectral hammer floating by his shoulder. He smiles slightly. Entertaining technique. The compliment dies quick. Pathetic. Ragnar scoffs, grabbing our boy Tejo's head. "Try to draw out more of your strength, otherwise you might actually die." He follows up that threat with a vicious kick right to Tejo's gut. His sword goes flying as he doubles over and smashes into the ground. "Got it, Tejo?" Ragnar leans in super close, his voice a low growl. Before Tejo can even think, Ragnar's fist, glowing with red energy, comes smashing down. He grabs Tejo and slams him straight into the earth, creating a massive crater. Ragnar stands over him, his eyes burning with an orange light. As Tejo's vision starts to fade, he has one final thought. Is this the end? Ragnar stands over, looking pretty disappointed. "I was hoping for more," he mutters to himself. But as he turns to walk away, he suddenly freezes. He glances back, a confused look on his face. Is that guy's insight really all he's got, he wonders? All of a sudden, a blinding golden aura explodes from Tejo's body. Tejo rises to his feet, engulfed in flames, his hair now glowing a brilliant gold. Ragnar is totally caught off guard. "The power of a god. You must be really trusted by your goddess," he says. "But if you keep recklessly covering yourself with that," there's a flicker in Ragnar's golden eyes. And he knows exactly what's about to happen. Tejo immediately collapses, the incredible power vanishing just as fast as it appeared. Tejo's eyes snap wide open. He's back in his room and Hida is looking down at him, super concerned. "Tejo, are you conscious?" she asks. He jolts straight up, completely freaking out. "Whoa, Hida!" he shouts, his face turning bright red. He starts ranting about how some crazy strong guy attacked him just outside his room and how he seriously thought he was going to die. Tejo turns and sees Ragnar leaning against the door, a wicked grin plastered on his face. He screams, "Why are you here?" Hida calmly explains, "This is Ragnar Lodbrok, who will be your mentor from now on." Tejo is totally shocked, arguing that he already has Hida as a mentor. But Ragnar just scoffs, "Who said I was going to be that guy's mentor?" Hida just groans, clearly frustrated. She tells Tejo that she can't train him by herself anymore, so she basically begged Ragnar until he finally agreed to help. He does not look impressed. "Tapping into divine power is fine," he says, voice level. "But if that is it, every one of my kids did the same." But Hida's full of confidence. "Soon you'll change your mind. You might even beg to learn from him," she says. She turns to Tejo with a trusting look. "Tejo, I trust Ragnar. Won't you show Ragnar your saga?" Seeing how much she believes in him, Tejo can't say no. "If you trust him, then I trust him as well," he says. Hida hands him a steel feather, which is a magic tool for showing your saga to other people. "Good, start when you're ready," she says. Ragnar crosses his arms, thinking, "All right, let's see what's so amazing about this." Tejo activates the feather, and a glowing scroll of light erupts from it. The instant the saga starts to unfold, Ragnar's smug look is wiped off his face, replaced by an expression of absolute jaw-dropping shock. He just stares, completely speechless at the story playing out in front of him. Hida watches his reaction with a knowing, triumphant smile. She glances at Ragnar, who is clearly stunned. "Well, if Tejo completes his saga, how far do you think he will go?" Ragnar's mind does backflips. The saga he's witnessing is so insane that he can only compare Tejo's potential to one single legendary name. Hida patiently waits. "At least Sigurd," he mutters, his brain still trying to catch up. Sigurd. That's the name of a warrior so powerful he was known as the strongest in all of Valhalla. Then what's the maximum? Hida's eyes light up, practically bouncing with energy. Ragnar, on the other hand, doesn't even blink. Ragnar grabs Tejo by the shoulder. He looks over at Hida, his entire attitude doing a 180. "I just have to teach this guy, right?" Hida gives him a satisfied, all-knowing smile. Ragnar's hype is dangerous, and they know it. He can't snap again like he did today, but he also can't treat Tejo like some priceless treasure on display. "I will leave him to you," Hida says. "All right, I got him," Ragnar replies. Ragnar's a veteran of countless battles, but this? He tightens his grip on his sword. Unbelievable, he breathes. That saga should not even be possible. Don't worry about me teaching him, he tells Heda. I think it'll be very entertaining for me as well. Heda's excitement is still palpable. So in the end, how high do you think he can go? She asks. Ragnar's expression doesn't flinch. Hardened, composed, Heda just gives a confident, almost smug little smile, ready to hear what he has to say. He looks ahead, his answer still hanging in the air. Captain Siri stands before her squad as she addresses the warriors she has trained. You have finally become an inferior-ranked warrior, she tells Rolf. He just grins back, telling her it is all because of her awesome guidance. As the squad gets ready, someone pipes up, asking if everyone is here. Not quite, one person is still missing, but right on cue they hear footsteps getting closer. A familiar voice shouts, Tejo. And there he is, our boy, waving with a massive happy smile. Long time no see, Captain Siri, Rolf. The other warriors immediately mob him. They've all heard the stories that this is the dude who rode a Valkyrie and even got a personal visit from one. Tejo gets all red and flustered, but Rolf just gives him a big thumbs up, admitting he also spilled the beans about Tejo taking down a giant all by himself. Before the hero worship can get out of hand, a sharp new voice cuts through the chatter. All right, everyone pay attention. She introduces herself as Valkyrie Gendur of the Ullr Legion, the leader for this entire expedition. She tells them it is a small-scale mission with low-ranked Ullr and Idun warriors, but warns them not to let their guard down. It will not be easy. A few warriors start grumbling that it's never easy, but she snaps right back, asking if they would rather just sit around and do nothing instead. With a sharp clap of her hands, she shuts down the argument before it can even start. Ullr's Legion sure has a relaxed atmosphere, Tejo mentally notes. Gendur announces that they will go over the mission details once they arrive at the destination and asks if anyone has questions. Rolf's hand shoots up, asking the one question on everyone's mind, where exactly are they going? Gandur's face turns deadly serious. To the land of the Dark Elves, she reveals, where an endless night persists. She gives the place its name, Svartalfheim. That single word sends a shock through Tejo. Dark Elves. The scene snaps to a dark, twisted forest. The branches of creepy ashen trees are all tangled together overhead, creating a thick roof that blocks out all light from the sky. Now you can see why they call it the world of endless night. The whole group stands in front of a glowing purple portal, the gateway to their mission. Tejo steps right through it, feeling the air crackle with raw energy. The first thing that hits him is the humidity, and he realizes it is actually daytime here even though it is pitch black. So this is the home of the Dark Elves. Once every single warrior has stepped through the portal, Gendur finally starts the mission briefing. Their objective is brutally simple: exterminate a monster. A dark elf from a family that supplies Valhalla with herbs made a huge mistake, she says. He woke a basilisk during a routine harvest. Siri is completely shocked. A basilisk? You mean the king of serpents? Gendur confirms her fears. To handle a threat this massive, she announces they will be using a special asset, the White Silence. The other warriors go nuts, cheering like their team just won the championship, while Tejo just stands there totally lost. He has absolutely no clue what is happening. He leans over to Siri and whispers, asking what the White Silence is. She tells him it is something amazing and that he is going to love it. Suddenly, a pack of gigantic, majestic white wolves with blue eyes comes bursting through the forest. Tejo is absolutely floored. These things are huge, and they look so unbelievably cool. The wolves move with a fluid, unstoppable power. And in no time, the entire squad is mounted up, racing through the dark woods like phantoms. Tejo cannot believe it. The ride is insanely fast, but it is completely silent, like he is gliding on a cloud. As they ride, Gendur praises him. You are quite a rider. Tejo smirks. All thanks to that dragon saga. She gives him a sly look, licking her lips. You are a truly desirable talent, she compliments. Her comment makes Tejo blush bright red and start sweating bullets. Splitting from the group, Gendur tells Siri to handle the Dark Elf Council and take command of the mission. Siri accepts the command and Gendur wishes her luck before speeding off into the darkness. The rest of the warriors push on, finally arriving at the ancestral village of the Malo family. A white-haired dark elf is already there waiting for them. He introduces himself as Talaris, their guide, and says he will lead them to the head of the family. As they walk down the cobblestone streets, you can feel the tension in the air. Dark elves whisper and stare from the shadows as the warriors march past. Some of them even grab their children and physically flinch away from the soldiers. Tejo notices that all of their names are showing up in gray text, which means they are neutral. Well, at least there are no hostiles, he thinks, trying to calm his nerves. Talaric leads them to a massive, fancy building. The heavy doors creak open slowly, revealing a huge torch-lit hall inside. Please, come in, Talaris says with a friendly smile. Inside, a massive feast is spread out on a long table with several maids ready to serve them. At the head of the table, an old dark elf announces their arrival. He welcomes them warmly, saying they must be exhausted from their long journey. I am Malus, head of the Malo family, he says. He invites them all to get comfortable and relax. The warriors are ecstatic. Rolf grins from ear to ear as a maid fills his cup to the brim with wine. Malus raises his own goblet high. All right, have a drink, everyone. The other warriors all turn to Siri, giving her their best puppy dog eyes. She sighs, then relents. Fine, just one drink. And just like that, the men explode with cheers. Tejo raises his own cup, a small smile playing on his lips. But just as he is about to take a sip, his eyes snap wide open in pure terror. Wait, he screams, slamming his hands on the table so hard that cups go flying everywhere. The other warriors are completely stunned by his sudden violence. They look around in total confusion as wine splashes all over the place. Tejo spins around, his face a mask of pure panic. Captain Siri, he yells at the top of his lungs. The horrifying realization finally hits her. It is a trap. Everyone escape, she shouts. At the exact same moment, Malus screams, seal the main gate. The warriors scramble for the exit in a mad, chaotic rush for their lives. As the heavy doors begin to slam shut, Tejo's eyes start to glow with a brilliant blue power. As the squad makes a break for it, the warriors looks up in horror. They are all above us. Up on the second floor balcony, a line of dark elf archers takes aim, their faces grim and totally focused. Siri shouts, shields up. Her warriors snap into formation, shields locking just as arrows rain down. Tejo, nowhere near the shield wall. His eyes are lit like neon and he is slipping through arrows like he has got main character plot armor because he kinda does. He is not running for the main gate like everyone else, he is sprinting at full speed toward a smaller side door. Two dark elf guards are desperately trying to shove it closed as they see him closing in like an unstoppable force. Tejo does not even slow down. He leaps into the air and smashes a devastating kick into the door. From the head of the now ruined feast table, the old dark elf leader, Malus, watches the escape with total disbelief. His calm and friendly act is gone, replaced by a face twisted with pure rage and dripping with sweat. He clenches his fists so tight his knuckles turn white. How? We gave no signs at all. He seethes to himself, just how on earth? Turns out, Malus is a follower of Utgard Loki. His rage boils over as he realizes exactly who ruined his plan. How did he figure it out? The escape is officially on, and Tejo is deep in pure chaos. The trap has been sprung, and the squad is now surrounded by a horde of dark elves, but they are not going down without a fight. As the warriors desperately hold the line, Captain Siri charges forward. She puts a whistle to her lips, blowing a sharp, piercing shriek that cuts through the noise of battle. Responding to the call, the legendary White Silence leaps right over the gate, ready to join the fray. But as they rush to escape, the traitor Malus yells to archers on the ramparts, "Don't let them escape." He gives the order to fire. A storm of arrows darkens the sky, raining down on the fleeing warriors and aiming straight for Tejo. Just as the arrows are about to turn him into a human pincushion, his eyes begin to glow a brilliant blue as his arms display painted runes. The scene suddenly flashes back to a moment with Hedda. "It's all done," she says with a cheerful smile, putting the final touches on a complex blue pattern on his arm with a brush. Tejo asks her what in the world it is, and Hedda explains it's rune engraving, a type of magic that works by painting runes directly onto the body. She clarifies it's just a temporary rune, so it's easy to remove. Real engravings are permanent, and with limited space, you've got to choose wisely. Tejo looks down at the runes covering his arm and back, nervously agreeing that it all makes sense. Back in the present, the runes on Tejo's arm blaze with a golden light. He roars, "Gant!" A massive golden force field erupts around him, deflecting every single arrow like it was nothing. The dark elf archers can only stare, their jaws on the floor, completely stunned by this display of power. Malus is losing his mind. "Why are you just standing there staring?" He screams at them. "Pursue them." But it is far too late for that. The squad, now mounted on the White Silence wolves, gallops away from the fortress, leaving the furious dark elves choking on their dust. Malus just completely collapses, hitting the ground in total despair. "How am I supposed to explain this?" he whimpers to himself. Deep in the woods, the squad finally gets a second to catch their breath. One wonders if they're safe now, while another starts checking on the wounded. A warrior grunts in pain, a nasty-looking arrow sticking straight out of his arm. The arrowhead is immediately yanked out. One taste of the blood confirms it. The arrow's laced with deadly poison. Even a scratch could kill a normal human. "Siri, can we stop for a moment to tend to our wounds?" A warrior pleads with Captain Siri. Siri, however, stays completely focused. "Treat your wounds while moving," she commands while stroking one of the giant wolves. Stopping is too risky. She tells them they can't even think about relaxing until they meet up with Gandur. Meanwhile, back in Malus's now deserted hall, the disgraced elf is trembling on the floor. "You failed, Malus," a disembodied voice booms from the portal. It burns with purple flames and dark energy materializing right in front of him. Malus immediately prostrates himself on the ground. Eek, I apologize. He begs for another chance, suggesting that if he could just borrow the power of the basilisk, he could still pull this off. But the voice is not having it. You can't do it. The entity doesn't seem worried though. But don't fear, Malus. I've made preparations for situations like this. It should be moving by now, the voice continues, its tone chillingly confident. As the squad races through the dense, tangled woods, Rolf turns to Tejo. Did you learn that the head of the family is a bad guy through a saga? Tejo confirms it, then turns to his captain. Thank you for trusting me right away, Captain Siri. Siri flashes him a confident smile. It's only natural. As comrades, trusting is, but she suddenly cuts herself off. Her eye twitches as she senses a terrifying presence nearby. All of a sudden, a swirling red portal tears open right in their path. Watch out, Siri screams. It's an ambush. Before anyone can even react, a warrior is brutally impaled from behind. Out of the portal steps a massive cloaked figure that radiates pure, unfiltered menace. Tejo's eyes go wide with shock. He's dangerous, he thinks to himself. It's an incredibly strong foe. A title appears below the enemy's head, Boss, Regenerator Marcus. Without a moment of hesitation, the squad's warriors charge forward, screaming for Marcus's head. But their attacks are completely useless. Marcus blocks their spears with his bare arms like they were twigs. In a blindingly fast movement, he cuts them both down in a spray of blood. Just like that, 3 warriors now lie dead on the forest floor. They can only stare in absolute horror. The wounds from their comrades' attacks bubble with a sick green energy and seal themselves completely shut. His wounds healed completely in an instant, they shout in disbelief. The Regenerator! Everyone, mount the White Silence. Get away from him, Siri orders. The squad scrambles back onto the wolves, but Marcus has no intention of letting them go. A disgusting mass of writhing, venomous snakes erupts from his body, lashing out to trap the wolves and their riders. Siri expertly dodges the serpents. The monstrous foe closes the distance, lunging at Siri. From a safe distance, Siri unloads a volley of glowing red bolts from her crossbow. They pepper Marcus with direct hits. The bolts just dissolve as his regeneration kicks in, and he continues his brutal assault on Siri. She screams in pure frustration, "Are you not even going to block them?" She manages to parry his savage blows. The foe is unstoppable, its body a fortress of muscle and malice. The sheer force of his strikes sends a shockwave through her entire body. It knocks her off her feet and sends her flying backward through the air. Captain Siri, Rolf cries out in a total panic. Absolutely enraged, he unleashes a powerful blast of fire from his hand. It completely engulfs Marcus in flames. Rolf then rushes to catch the fallen Siri. For a second, the fire rages intensely, but then 2 malevolent eyes glow from within the inferno. Rolf's eyes burn with a wicked yellow light, a dark, crimson aura flaring around his head. The battle? Yeah, far from over. In a brilliant flash of blue light, Tejo explodes into action. He leaps, blade blazing, aiming right for Marcus. The collision hits like a meteor. Light explodes, sound booms, and the ground trembles. I am now your opponent, you monster. Tejo says with his blue runes blazing on his arm, putting every ounce of his strength into the blow. Marcus is brought to his knees, but he just smirks as a rush of snakes zero in on Tejo. Our boy is completely surrounded, trapped by these slithering nightmares. But does he care? Nope, he just keeps slicing and dicing like a man possessed. Then Tejo notices something weird. This dude Marcus never even tries to dodge. Seeing his one and only chance, Tejo goes all in. His sword bursts into golden flames as he lunges, unleashing a massive attack straight at the guy. It is a direct hit. A huge gash opens up on Marcus's stomach. Rolf and Siri are watching from the side, totally shocked. Rolf thinks he got him, but Siri knows what's up. He is a regenerator, and the wound will heal in seconds. Nearby, Tejo's watching, surrounded by a strange golden light. And Marcus, he's just standing there with a smug mug, totally expecting the wound to heal. But Tejo is not fazed. His eyes are glowing with a golden light. But wait a second. Marcus looks down at his wound, looking totally confused. Tejo remembers Ragnar's lesson. His divine power was not just for healing, it could actually shut down other people's powers too. Ragnar's words ring in his head. Be smart. Don't keep your power on all the time. Only use your god's power at the exact moment you strike. Back to the present. The purple blood dripping from Marcus's wound sizzles on the ground. The regenerator's confident smirk finally falters as he looks down at his injury, which is not healing properly anymore. Tejo readies his stance, his body now crackling with his god's energy, and says with grim determination, "Here I go." Marcus grits his teeth, gripping his blade tightly, getting ready for the onslaught. Tejo is relentless. He explodes into a flurry of strikes, pushing Marcus back in a shower of golden sparks with every blow. From the sidelines, Rolf is losing his mind with excitement. He screams that Marcus is struggling just to defend himself, yelling, "Finish him off, Tejo." Siri, however, is not celebrating. Yeah, it looks like Tejo has the upper hand, but this is a war of stamina. She knows that if Marcus just keeps defending, Tejo is going to tire out first. So without even thinking, she breaks away from the others and sprints right into the middle of the fight, leaving Rolf completely stunned. Marcus lets out a triumphant screech, having finally found his chance to counterattack. He swings his weapon, and Tejo looks panicked, barely managing to dodge. He skids backward across the clearing, but Tejo refuses to give up. He digs his heels into the ground. He lunges forward again, pouring every last ounce of his strength into one final desperate charge. He thinks to himself, "I'll end it with this strike," raising his blade high for the finishing blow. But before he can land it, Marcus whips out a long, scaly tail that brutally impales him straight through the torso. Tejo's eyes widen in pure shock and pain. Just as Marcus moves in for the kill, Siri flies in to intercept him, her own blade clashing with his. The impact throws Marcus completely off balance, his attack thwarted. She snarls that she may not be able to wound him, but she can definitely push him back. Her clutch intervention gives Tejo the split second he needs. He musters his remaining strength and slams a glowing sword directly into Marcus's stomach. The Regenerator coughs up a spray of purple blood. But Tejo is not finished. It's not over yet. He screams, activating his saga. "Warrior's sword, Skullbuster," he yells, squishing Marcus like a giant purple grape. "Bye, Marcus." Back in the Dark Elf Palace, the swirling dark energy exclaims, "How could this be? Marcus is dead," it declares. Wasting no time, it barks out new orders. "Halt the excavation, Malus." Because now they have no choice but to use the basilisk. Back in the forest, the rest of the squad rushes to Tejo, who has collapsed unconscious. Rolf is totally panicking, asking if they should wait since he is not waking up at all. But Siri shakes her head, a grim look on her face. She says she has a bad feeling and they must leave this place quickly. Just then, a terrifying slithering sound echoes through the twisted trees. "That sound," one of the men mutters. Rolf's face pales with horror. It's the basilisk. But which direction? Siri takes charge, commanding them to scatter. She says their top priority is to regroup with Gander, but it is not essential for everyone to make it back together. The warriors share a grim look. One claps another on the shoulder, saying with a brave face that they will meet again in Valhalla. With that, Siri gives the final command. "Everyone, move, for Asgard and the 9 realms." As the others flee, Rolf hesitates. "Captain, what about Tejo? I'll take care of him." "You hurry up and go," Siri insists. Rolf nods. "Be careful, Captain," he says before turning and running for his life. Alone with the unconscious Tejo, Siri kneels beside him. Suddenly, a brilliant pink aura erupts around her. She whispers the name of her saga, Wolf Witch. Her body transforms, shifting into a magnificent giant wolf with ethereal blue fur and glowing markings. The wolf gently lifts Tejo's limp body in its jaws and sprints into the depths of the forest, carrying him to safety. Moments later, the ground shakes as the colossal, armored basilisk emerges from the gloom, its glowing eyes scanning the now empty clearing. That's a wrap on this recap. Hit that subscribe button to help us keep pumping out awesome content. Catch you in the next one.